let's just get this over with. Oh, shit. There we go. Okay. Shit. Yo, what's good, guys? This one is super impromptu, even more so than yesterday. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna turn off chat in a little bit. I'm gonna just turn off chat in a little bit. I'm probably just gonna put this all down, etc. There's something that I gotta go over real quick. Many of you might not know what the fuck is going on. Super early, yeah. Many of you might not know or understand what the fuck is going on. So I'm just gonna get ahead of this right now. Well, get ahead, quote unquote. A bit of a situation happened within my server. All of my moderators left. Why is stream on? It must be night or something at your country. It's like 6:30 in the morning, dude. I couldn't sleep. I got maybe like 2 hours worth of sleep. I'm stressed the fuck out. I'm just trying to clear some shit up before anything crazy happens. I'm gonna put down chat in a little bit. I'm just gonna go over a couple of things, but essentially, a couple of allegations have recently come out by my moderators in regards to a situation that happened with the server a couple of weeks back. They have been, I'm just gonna be honest. They have been telling me, or at least not telling me. What the fuck am I talking about? They've been telling people that I have been. Dude, did I just get the fucking screenshots? All right. They've been telling people that I essentially decided to side with some kind of with some guy with an Islamophobe or whatever over a situation that happened over one of the guy's bannings in the server. They were saying that I'm basically siding with the guy and all his other crap. So I'm like, and there's also another thing that has to do with an NSFW server regarding that person. So apparently I don't know. Apparently this whole thing blew out of proportion. And so I gotta just cover it all right now because fuck it. I'm stressed the fuck out. Like I said, I got about 2 hours worth of sleep. I can't shut off my brain. So I'm just gonna cover a couple things first and then go over it. So last night, so yeah, for those of you that are here right now watching this, you guys are gonna get like the full, I guess, you guys are gonna get like the full context for it. This was something that I didn't think was going to, ever go and get anything. I didn't think this thing was going to go to this extent. I really didn't, but they were feeling some type of way. All the mods left, so that was a whole thing. But yeah, let me just start this off by like just going through it. So within the context of the server, we have a rule breakers thing right here, right now. We have a rule breaker server right there where we essentially, they just let, whenever somebody breaks or whatever, also, I know that some people are seeing the blackmail thing right here. It's just a joke. It's April Fool's, just to be clear. So within the context of this rule breaker thing, you can essentially see that they basically hit us up with like, reasons why people got banned, reasons why people get kicked out or whatever. This was a fucked up image that somebody posted, etc., 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 right? Kind of behavior that like breaks that kind of behavior that like breaks some of the, especially the rules of the community. We don't fuck with that, etc., etc. So they essentially let me know here, perfect, thank you, like, oh, we banned this person, we did this, we did that, and I'm like, so it all starts off with this whole situation that happened where one of our members of the channel essentially got banned from the server, right? So one of the first things that they let me know was that he was told a while ago he needed to change this, banned him here and in the paid server. We should remove him from Ohara too. Ohara is like the big drive folder that I have with all of the information and all the scans from all the series, right? Forwarded from debates with chat. This isn't even touching the Islamophobia. He was spewing in Steins or someone other and some other things that dude said. Okay, cool. So right here it says a real N-word. Now, I just want to be clear about this. I don't feel comfortable with like putting some of this stuff on blast, especially out, but I need to basically like, just give full context for what the fuck is happening and full context for everything that's going on. I put chat down just so that way you got, that way, there's no influence going around here with anything that you guys are saying. I'm not trying to like, test the waters or whatever. I'm just trying to like give you guys everything, at least as far as the quote unquote allegations go, because otherwise, it again just blows out into something bigger than it really needs to be. And I really do think this and I will stand by this idea that this completely blew out of proportion, but I will say I'm not entirely what's the word here? I guess my fault. I'm tired. I'm not entirely in the right with a couple of things, and I will call them out as I go along, but essentially, to give you guys full context, I'll get back to this in a second. The break room, right? So, okay. After going over this entire fiasco, it really just starts right here, right? After going over this entire fiasco, this was sent to me at 10 p.m., 10:51 p.m. last night. Going over this fiasco that really should have been solved about 3 weeks ago. I'm ready to speak on this since it's been really pissing me off, and I'm not going to hold back on this. Eon, I and the rest of us, especially me and Thine, are really pissed. Today has taught us one thing: you don't have a fucking spine, and I know this for 3 reasons. So let's go over each reason. You unbanned Zod, even though he said racist shit. It doesn't matter if he changed. He broke the rules and sets a double standard. I and Six are friends with Zod, but that doesn't mean he should rejoin. One of my friends, who I have known nearly 8 years, also got banned for racist shit. I didn't let them back in, even if he is my friend. Okay, cool. So let's start off with that one. So I think it was like last year. Zod, one of the members of the channel that's been around from like the start, apparently I think he said some shit. I don't know. I think it might be like in the rule breaker stuff. He said some shit that, broke against the community stuff, so I banned him, right? Zod, you know this, I banned you. Now, I'm not going to go back to check for this. I probably could. Take this with a grain of salt. I don't know who the fuck it was, but I think it was Six. I don't know where I can find this. Specifically, I don't know if it was in a stream or if I was directly DM'd either on the server or on thing, right? I don't think it was in DMs because I checked DMs earlier. I think it was Six. I don't remember if it was him exactly or if it was somebody else, but somebody had told me, Zod is really sorry about what ended up happening, and I think we should, and he wants to know if he could get back into the server. Now, yes, Zod did break a rule, and should he have stayed permanently banned? Maybe. If this was their server, maybe. 100% sure. But something that I personally believe is that a person can be redeemed. I have compassion for people. As someone who for the longest time did not ever show himself love and did not ever, think, okay, the stupid shit, the stupid things that I do can never be redeemed, etc., etc. I learned as my own personal life, progressed, as I grew older, as I've reached the point that I am today. One thing that I genuinely believe in is that people can be redeemed, people can learn and grow from shit. You're not the stupid comments that you posted on a server or somewhere else. You're blah, 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 sorry. Those things, though they do look bad and they are a reflection of you at a specific point of time, they're not a full reflection of you as an individual, especially since, I'm going to be honest, people can feel remorse and people can try and fucking change. Now, I can't speak for, I don't know if I can necessarily say that, like, Zod doesn't, still make some comments here and there outside of the server. I don't know, but as far as the servers go, and this is just going to be a theme that I'm going to completely have to like go over and over again, and you guys are going to see that I am consistent with this. I have not seen any kind of comments regarding Zod or anything like that in the past since they've been back. I haven't seen Zod really disrespect anyone. I haven't really seen Zod, say any kind of remarks like that anymore. Whether or not it's a joke or not, I haven't seen them say anything like that since they got back in. So at least for now, I thought to myself, okay, I don't think it's the biggest deal. Sure, let's let him back in. And hey, I've been proven right so far, right? Zod hasn't said or done anything crazy as far as I'm aware. So hey, great, right? Is it grounds to unban someone? I mean, listen, the guy's not breaking the rules of the server again. What do you want me to do? You want me to kick him out? I mean, sure, then tell me, hey, Ian, I think we should genuinely just kick out Zod. Not drop this like this on me, but sure. You said that, you didn't let your friend back in, even though he's your friend of 8 years or whatever. I mean, you don't have to let them back in. I'm not telling you to let your friend back in. I don't know your friend. I've never had a conversation with them. So, if you wanted to let your friend back in and you told me that your friend was, I would have said the same thing for them. Your friend said some fucked up shit. The community is still relatively small, right? At least in my opinion. I don't know. I actually don't know how big Discord servers can normally get. I know that, I guess in some cases with big YouTubers or whatever, it can get to really large numbers of people, but I don't know. I don't really use Discord that often. I know I have a whole bunch of stuff here, but that's just stuff that I randomly joined to either learn how to play characters or whatever, or play Digimon, etc. Digimon TCG, simple. I don't even know why the fuck I joined this, but that's all irrelevant, right? I'm just rambling. Number 2, you got upset with me because I timed OneSmart even though we agreed that he was becoming an issue on the streams and was distracting you. I'm not going to take something like I forgot as an excuse because as soon as you saw OneSmart get nuked, there should have been neurons in your brain reminding you of our conversation. This one's pretty interesting because I don't necessarily know if I would use the word I got upset with you. I'm just yo, dude, relax. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, in regards to OneSmart, as someone who has been in this community for a long time, OneSmart tends to side with Naruto. And as you guys may know, many of my opinions come into One Piece. So they're always trying to make arguments, to defend Naruto characters, make arguments for them, etc. If you guys have been in the server at any point, you guys know how OneSmart is. And one thing that I will say here is that this isn't even on OneSmart necessarily. Not to defend them, but this isn't even on OneSmart, distracting me or whatever, because, yeah, you could say that, yeah, they're distracting you, and we've talked about it, etc. And I know, Lapis, I'm aware. We have talked about it plenty of times, but guess what? I believe in accountability. I believe in taking responsibility for my actions, and truth be told, if OneSmart is distracting me on a stream, etc., if anyone is really distracting me on a stream whenever I'm having any kind of these conversations, that's on me. I said this before to, dudes that walk into chat and they said oh, you're gonna get me real mad. Oh, your takes about One Piece. Oh God, how dare you say that all of this is this? You're gonna make me crash out and you won't like it. No, dude, shut the fuck up, right? It's. However, I've said this to other people, and I will say, and I'll even apply this to myself. If someone is forcing you to have a certain behavior, not forcing you, because no one's forcing you to do anything. If someone's words, etc., enact or bring out a certain behavior out of you as an individual, that's on you, right? Now, depending on the things that they are saying, that might be on them. I'm not saying this to entirely denote, certain things, but what I am saying is, in a scenario where I am streaming, right, where I was streaming, and OneSmart is trying to defend some shit like Amaterasu, or being actually as hot as the sun, or whatever the fuck, we're going to agree to disagree with that. And if I'm engaging with them, that's because I'm someone who engages with this kind of stuff. That's just me. And I have to learn how to control that. That's not on OneSmart, and that's why I feel sometimes nuking OneSmart is not always, that fair, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that's engaging with him. I don't have to engage with OneSmart. I do either way. Sometimes I forget about this. Not even sometimes, frequently enough, I forget about this. If I want to continue the work, if I want to continue doing the research that I was doing, and I didn't want to get distracted, I just shouldn't be streaming whatsoever. Because it's not just OneSmart distracting me, or it's not just some random dude showing up into the server, making some bullshit remarks about, oh yeah, you're just wrong about One Piece, etc. No, I engage with all that stuff. I just engage with that stuff. I do. You know what? Sure, why not? Let's talk about it. It's the same arguments as always. It's the same all that crap. But at the end of the day, I'm going to engage with it because why the fuck not? That's just how I engage with things. I engage with people. I want to have the conversation, even if I have to repeat myself 1,000 fucking times. But that's just me. And you know what? It did slow down the server, but it's not OneSmart's fault. It's mine. That's 100% on me. And I'm willing to call that out. Yeah. So when I quote unquote got upset with you, which I don't think maybe the tone, maybe my tone, I guess as far as like comments could be perceived as me being upset, but like, no, dude, like just relax, dude. Like it's not that big of a deal. I don't think so. Anyway. Number 3, the 4 of us, 6, Bob Thine asked you if you were going to if you were going to give an apology, and I'll get to the whole apology thing in a second. And he even gave you multiple days and weeks to respond with an answer. You said that you were stressed about things and it was taking a toll on you. Fun fact, it was. But is that really true? You were trying to appease us into not leaving earlier. I didn't want you guys to leave. I like you guys as my moderators. Believe it or not, I do like you guys as my moderators. Everything you guys have done for the channel, the server, it's not even about like, you know, all the things you guys have done. I just think you guys are good dudes. So I didn't want you guys to leave, but you know what? There is a lot of stress that I do undergo on a daily basis, and I think this is where I kind of just need to clear one thing up. So mental health in my family is kind of non-existent. Some of my family members, within my family, there's a lot of history of like mental health issues. I know one of my aunts, you know, they take medication to like stay intact, and when they don't, they go ape shit even on like, you know, their spouse and everything, right? My brother needed to be medicated. I was told multiple times by my therapist that I should be medicated. And I was medicated for a time, I think prior to like 2020, but it was basically for like a month. I just don't like how that stuff makes me feel. So, you guys, I think I've expressed this at least once or twice, but if you guys have been throughout my streams, you guys would know that like I've said before that like I have a tendency of walking around my house. That's not a lie. And when I mean walking around my house, I mean I have, I think a term for it is like echo conversations, where I basically put myself in a position where I'm having a conversation where I think I'm in a fucking YouTube video where I'm just trying to formulate an argument. I do this a lot. An example of this would be when Lord IMAX sent me a Lord IMAX. I remember I was cleaning the house real quick. This is a bit of a side tangent, but I remember when I was cleaning the house for a little bit, IMAX at some point, one of our members gave me an idea months and months and months ago to do like the whole like Naruto and B versus a Buster Call thing. It's somewhere around here, right? It's somewhere around here. It was like that's 2025. It's somewhere around here, right? Anyway, they gave me this idea, and I remember I was cleaning my house at the time, and I basically stopped cleaning for like 30 fucking minutes, and I just started to like, my brain just started to race. The reason why this is important is because a couple months ago, I had a conversation with my therapist about just a lot of the fears that I had and a lot of the anxieties that just go on from day to day, not just from like the whole YouTube thing, personal stuff, family, etc., right? I think it was back in February or March of this year that for context, my therapy sessions are for 30 minutes, right? But sometimes they can go a little bit longer. I remember that therapy session being, I remember out of the 30 minutes that I was supposed to talk to my therapist, 55, it ended up turning into a 55-minute long, one-sided conversation where from the moment that she said, "Hi, how you doing? So catch me up, how you been?" I started yapping, and for 55 minutes, I just did not stop talking. She did not get a single word in. Out of a 30-minute session, an extra 25 minutes, she did not get a single word in until the very fucking end. I was expressing her all my fears about like YouTube, about just the channel not progressing, about the video just probably being bigger than I think it could have been. All of these other things. I am literally like almost tearing myself apart on the inside because, like I said, my brain doesn't fucking stop. It's like a machine that is constantly on go, and part of the reason I'm even doing this fuck ass, whatever the fuck this is, clearing up the allegations or whatever. The reason why I'm doing this at 6:40 in the fucking morning, when I was originally planning on just doing it at some point in the early afternoon today, is because I woke up what? At 5:45, 5:50 today.
Because as soon as as soon as like my brain just started thinking about this shit again, I guess while I was half asleep, I just woke up and immediately just started going. It just started going again. Lapis sent this message at 10:51. I was on this shit. I finished talking to my girlfriend about it at around a little after midnight, close to 1 p.m. and at 1 a.m. And I didn't stop thinking about this. She said, just go to bed, just do anything, watch a video, play a video game, just do whatever it is, just try to get your mind off of it. And my mind was not off of it. No matter how I kept telling myself, stop, in order to try to stop my mind from like doing anything, as much as I tried to focus on my goddamn air conditioner, my brain just would not stop thinking about this and coming back to this. When I finished telling her everything that I was going through, when I finished telling my therapist everything that I was going through, she said my name, and then she said, I'm torn. I'm torn because for the longest time, you and I have been trying to, like, you know, work on, you know, not just dealing with everything that it is that you're dealing with, but also from everything that you've told me, your mind is in a constant state of chaos. I'm going to be real with you guys. This isn't for sympathy. I don't give a shit about that. This is just me being blatantly honest here. Outside of YouTube, outside of the channel, I worry about the following things: taking care of the house, making sure that I am staying consistent with upkeep, cleaning, etc. And sometimes I don't even fucking do that. And sometimes I don't even, I tell myself, oh, I have to make sure I do this. I have to make sure I do this thing specifically with a garbage bag so that certain things don't happen, etc., etc. Like, I'm like in a very weird position where, like, I've never once taken care of a home, and then it was kind of just thrown on me, and I've just been trying to adapt to it on a daily. Now, YouTuber whining about his first world problems. Yeah. Cozy ass job. I'm not even saying this to make like a woe is me situation. I'm just saying, between the shit that I have to worry about on my own side, bills that, specifically one of which that came in recently that wasn't even our fault, but we have to deal with now. This fucking One Piece versus Naruto video. Almost every single second of my day, outside of the streams, was me worrying about something. Every single day. And there were even situations where, not even situations, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is just straight up my state of being. For the last 2 fucking years, I have been thinking about Naruto versus Luffy. I've been thinking about how to formulate the argument. I've slowly changed my argument here and there. Even at like 1 in the fucking morning, I will walk around my house going through a mock script of how I get to go through things. I have a lot of recordings, of voice recordings of my phone of me just talking, and actually at this point it's only 4. What the fuck? I guess some of them got deleted. Whatever. I've got multiple conversations on my phone of me recording, just going over things that I could say and talk about in the scripts. Naruto versus Luffy has essentially been my life for like the last 2 years. So when I couple that with this never ending, just brain going on full fucking blast, yeah, then you couple that with 6-hour long streams where I basically eat breakfast just before I start up a stream, and then I don't eat until the end of the day. Yes, no one to blame for that but myself. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm the first person to call out my eating habits are fucking terrible, but when you couple low food consumption on a daily basis, where I basically go 8 to 10 hours without eating, and my breakfast is essentially chicken and cheese wraps that I personally make. It's like 2 chicken and cheese wraps that are barely filled up that I make. And then you couple that with a 6-hour long stream where I'm talking to people, interacting with people, etc., you know, and I have to sometimes be on the fucking constant defensive because everyone wants to dispute every little point about every goddamn little thing. Yeah, it was starting to become a lot. The whole situation that I'm going to get to as I go into the rule breakers thing, the whole situation happening there, that was kind of the tipping point for me, because it was like, all right, this is just too much for me. I wanted to spend my Saturday weekend. It happened on a Saturday. I wanted to spend my Saturday playing with my boys. It's been like 3 weeks since I've seen them. I just want to sit down, play some Smash Brothers, play some Speedrunners, play some Mario Kart, and then, maybe get a W here and there. No, it turned into this whole thing, which is why I had to eventually say, yo, I just gotta get off the server for a bit. Yeah. Indecisive people, let me tell you this, Eon. I would have been pissed if you didn't apologize, but you know what pisses me off more? Indecisive people who apologize in this scenario just to keep their friends. Let me break it down for you. I'm not just pissed. I feel like you broke my trust. If you can't make a decision like yes, we agree, or no, I disagree, then there's a lot of shit you will get into in the future that could fuck you over. I told you guys that I disagreed with some of the things you guys were saying in regards to this situation. Truth be told, I was even trying to be as flexible as possible, and I kept the person out of the server. And you know what? The person's still not in the server. Yeah, yesterday when I put out, like, all of the Discord invitation stuff, they told me multiple times, oh, I can't get in. Oh, I guess I'm just straight up banned. And I'm like, I mean, yeah. Are they in the server? No, they're not in the server. They're not in. What do you want me to tell you? I haven't let them back into the server. Their issue with me, at least, is just more so that I didn't ban them from the streams, but we'll get into that in a second. We also don't appreciate you not telling us about stripping certain perms from us. You are blatantly lying, trying to hide shit from us, and that is really important to tell. It makes you, the four of us, more skeptical of your actions. You do, and less willing to talk to you. I'll get into this in a second as well. There's a reason, and I'll be honest with you, they have a right to be upset with me about this. So for context, a little after they joined the server, I think about a couple months into them joining the server, I think Thine was specifically asking me to give them administration, to set on like the administrator things, so to give administrative controls to the mods, so that they can mess around and fuck around with a couple things in the server, add some bots, do all this stuff, right? I thought, cool, fine. I never took it off. I'm gonna be honest, I never took it off. They said that they wanted, I think I took it off at one point, and they were like, no, we just wanted just to make sure that we can clear up certain stuff, and I'm like, okay, sure, you guys can do that. But, I'll get into this point in a little bit. You know what, actually, let me just go over this right now. So, the situation, because I can't explain this necessarily. Lastly, I'm going to go over, actually, I'll just go into this next point. Lastly, I'm going to go over this shit that I've been telling you for a while now. While I respect you have compassion for everyone, you need to know when to use your brain and not your heart. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I've been using my brain this entire time. And to go back to the little spineless point that you brought up, I guess you telling me off. I don't think the word I would use is spineless. I think the word I would use is passive. In general, though I like to engage with people, I am inherently a very combative person. I will fight people on essentially everything, and anyone who knew me growing up would know, yeah, I would basically try to sometimes contradict people just for the sake of doing it, right? But that's not me anymore. Something I learned as I've gotten older is that when it comes to certain people, or when it comes to certain things, it's just best to let it go, because ultimately a lot of things usually aren't that big of a deal. And the thing, and I think where my biggest mistake, at least regarding that thought process, is that though I've reached this thought process, I've reached this belief that, things at the end of the day, we as human beings, we have free will. We get to do, we act in accordance to what it is that we want to say and do, etc., etc. At the end of the day, a lot of things that people feel like are massive fucking issues, and this even goes towards me, right? Like there was a whole situation again with like some money related stuff regarding my personal life that, at the time I thought it was a big deal, but hey, as I go through with it and as I rationalize things more, I think, hey, it's probably not that. But not everyone thinks like me, so you know what, it's fine. Just because someone said one nice thing doesn't absolve them of certain actions, and people are willing to take advantage of you. I am done having to hammer this shit into you. I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to, and I don't know why you were trying to hammer shit into me. You need to stop and stand up on principles. What principles did I not stand up on? I want to be... You said it yourself. You want to make a non-toxic power scaling community, yet you let someone like Handsome Chad, who is blatantly being Islamophobic to Clark. I don't agree with the Islamophobic part, but I will get into that again in a second. And Six and I would gladly debate you, and let me tell you, you will be torn to shreds and loose. Wow, I'm so scared. Be torn to shreds for what? Listen, you know what? Let me just get over to that right now. Okay, so what exactly happened, right? Let's go back up. Let's just start up from the start, right? Okay, at least, okay, I tell them I'm still waiting on the files. They got on the quote-unquote files. We got scans from Clark. Type them into notes. I reached the Discord word limit. Told you it was going to be long. Almost done. I had a feeling it would reach the word limit. At least post a screenshot so I can see them now, etc., etc. Okay, so they started posting some screenshots. I don't feel comfortable necessarily sharing all of the, specifically stuff that happens in like outside of the server and other server shit, but I mean, the guy's name is everywhere. I'd have to basically like take screenshots of all the conversations and stuff like that and blot them out. I did do that for another specific person because I feel like this specific scenario was something that I was trying to, you know, not let. There was a specific scenario that I'm going to get into again a little bit later regarding especially one of the mods that I do block out a specific person's names just because I didn't want. They kind of have nothing to do with this, but this does kind of flow back into some of the decisions I made. Give me 1 second though. I need to go get some water. I have like hot mouth right now. 1 second. Okay. That's better. Okay, so here's where it starts. Okay, so here's where it starts. So there was apparently, so this is like a photo of like another server. I don't know what the server's name is. I don't know much about it other than the information that's presented in this chat. And honestly, I don't really care past, you know, this conversation. They have some stuff here about talking about how there's an NSFW channel and how there are technically minors in the server themselves. They're just talking about how they wanted to leave and all that stuff, right? So cool. I will come back to this in a second. The big point I want to talk about is just the whole like defending Islamophobia stuff. I'll get to all this stuff later. So it says right here, don't ignore my point. We all know they were going to try and buy Kami. So within the reason why I'm showing these is because this is a conversation that, at least within the context of the conversation and some specific wording that they use at two specific points, you can either view this as the person being either Islamophobic or not Islamophobic. I'm just saying, I think personally, just coming off to where I'm coming from, just to get you guys know where I'm coming from, I think, and this is just me, my stance on this was very simple. I don't think the person was trying to inherently be Islamophobic with the specific topic of conversation. They were just calling out a double standard. But I'll read the comments and let you guys decide for yourself. We all know that they were going to try and buy Kami. Sanji, in that moment, said he wanted to buy the other slave girl. It's a bad gag. He replies, yes. This is not the same panel. I guess they were sending the pictures of the manga panels. When the anime changes a gag, you know it's bad. This is a different part of the chapter. Exactly. Just when the anime changes a gag, you know it's bad. Exactly. Just let it go, chat. I didn't mean panel, but pages. I'm fine with it being a bad gag, but Sanji clearly wasn't buying a sex slave. It's sort of like when someone makes a joke at a funeral. Just poor taste. We didn't say he was. They replies, how? That's a living slave woman. It's an example. ... It's sort of like, okay, it's sort of like that, ... A bad one, ... No, you get the point. No, I don't. Sanji said something in poor taste. That's the point. It's disgusting. You're giving Oda too much leeway. It's disgusting, just like making a joke at a funeral. Yeah, I don't think it would be appropriate to do that kind of stuff. You know, give a joke at a funeral. And listen, the whole Oda saying that, the whole like Oda writing a joke about Sanji, you know, wanting to buy a sex slave or whatever. I mean, listen, I'm not defending that shit. Yeah, bad joke. Sometimes jokes don't hit. Sometimes, especially as times progress, a series was going to show, at least to some extent, you know, something that probably won't be seen as politically correct, especially if you go down the line even a decade or so. I think Oda made a bad joke. Even he said, and I agree with him. He's not giving Oda any leeway. I don't either. I think Oda, honestly, I think Oda's made some pretty fucking bad jokes, and I've said this before. One of One Piece's biggest issues is honestly some of the Gunner stuff. But hey, fuck it, right? Nothing's perfect. Not even going to continue this. I'm talking about Sanji, not Oda. At least we agree it's bad. Cool. So they agree that it's bad. I'm not talking about Sanji, not I'm talking about Sanji, not Oda. At least we agree it's bad. I literally said he shouldn't have said it. Where was this energy when Ishin was looking up? ... Never mind. I think he's referencing a scene from Bleach where Ishin, I think he's talking about Ishin Kurosaki, where like I think he does like some weird shit with one of his daughters or whatever. He like makes a comment or whatever. They post a picture. They call him 007. 0 arguments, critically dissected, 0 self-awareness, at least 7 false equivalencies and strawmans. I know I won when Bleach is inserted into a conversation it had nothing to do with. Sure. Y'all say I dick suck Kubo, but you don't see me defending the Lilinet design or some shit. And no one's defending Oda making a bad joke. He says... ... ellipses, the argument wasn't about Ishin, it was about Sanji. When did I defend it? I said Sanji shouldn't have said it. Just to be clear, it's like making a joke in funeral. It was in poor taste, said something in poor taste. Yeah, like he's, again, just go back and check these out. He says they're in bad taste. Sure. He says, Oda shouldn't have wrote that since you N-words are so overly sensitive these days. Yeah, I agree. Oda shouldn't have wrote that. I don't know about the other part, but yeah, I agree. He says, overly sensitive? That's gross, Unk. Can we stop talking about this now? What's gross is thinking Lilinet's design is sexual in nature. I didn't even think of that until you said it. That's like saying Dawn. He said dog, but I think he meant Dawn from Pokemon. Design is bad because she has a skirt. Y'all so predictable, it's crazy. Y'all too sexual these days? Can we stop this argument right now? We're not arguing. We can't chop it up like some men. Okay, sure. We both agree. If you want to say I gave you an L, that's fine. Okay. So what were the next? This is some other stuff that they were bringing up about stuff that he quote unquote said in one of my streams, etc. I told him that like within the context of the conversation, I don't think personally, I don't think that within the context of the conversation, Jeff is even remotely at any point defending the Sanji stuff, defending the fuck comments or any of that stuff. I don't think he's saying anything like that. At least from the comments that I have read. Again, I'm not thinking with my heart. I'm thinking, well, he's not defending any of it. This is just some other stuff that wasn't really relevant to that. They were calling out a bunch of stuff here that if you guys need me to read some of these out, I said, all right, I read all of it, right? Including all of the messages here. Is it this one? Okay. So this is where, the issue kind of comes in. Someone says it's the truth and says, I'm not upset, by the way. Don't challenge me thinking I'm assuming he means pussy. You won't address it, though. I'm down to go all the way with a debate every time. Okay, cool. So I call off Oda for being affiliated with a literal child predator, and then my religion is attacked. You can't be trying to say Oda fighting or is friends with a pedo when your religion is from a pedo like this. I don't know who the fuck is Lawless Weep. I don't know who that is. Let's call a spade and chill off. They say let's call a spade and let's chill off. He says right here, nah, I just saw it, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta say sorry. You said, then why you Muslim? Yes, what Muhammad did was wrong, marrying a 9-year-old girl, but no one is coming out of that and saying we must all follow. I'm not saying that he's a pedo, nor do I think that. I'm just not with the selective politics. We call them all out. So if you guys don't know this, I'm assuming the religion of Islam, there was a prophet named Muhammad. There was a prophet named Muhammad who married a young girl, who married a young girl, right? Now, he asked someone, then why you Muslim? Right? Because he was trying to make a comparative, I guess, connection. He was trying to make some connection where if you have such an issue, at least from my perspective, it's this whole thing where I'm just not with the selective politics, we'll call them out. Okay, so I'm assuming that from his perspective, right? From this screenshot right here, from his perspective, he's not so much saying all Muslims are pedophiles. No, he's saying he doesn't like this selective politics. In other words, let's be honest here. People out on the internet across the planet will hate specific things, specific bad actions across media, across whatever the fuck, and they will also ignore it for certain things that might either like or be important to them. I think this is just inherent part of human nature where we sometimes oversee or completely ignore certain specific things about in regards to things that we like or love or we have faith in, because either that isn't the entire point of it, or because, you know, it just means a lot to them, right? He says, if you hate pedos as much as you claim, Clark, you wouldn't be Muslim. Logging off. What the fuck? Brother join. Lost Piece. No, that's the illustrator. Talking mid. I don't know about any of that stuff. So, yeah. Now, this right here is the most damning part. If you hate pedos as much as you claim, Clark, you wouldn't be Muslim. That right there is the damning part, right? So, with hindsight, you know, discussing this with my girlfriend, just going over with her last night, she was like, yeah, that's it right there. That's where they're calling him an Islamophobe, right? He shouldn't have said you wouldn't be Muslim. That can 100% be perceived as Islamophobic. You know what? I'm not even going to fight that. As a matter of fact, as you go down here, you're going to see that I'm saying it's not inherently Islamophobic, or it's objectively not being Islamophobic. You know what? I will say right now, I'm going to call that out right now. Not only do I take that back, you know, given the perspective, again, hindsight's 2020. Yeah, I can 100% agree with somebody seeing this as Islamophobic. But given this one fucking text right here, I'm not saying he's a pedo, nor do I think that. I'm just not with the selective politics. I think that it comes down to one of two things. Either you think he's a straight up Islamophobe because he said this line right here, or you think this guy doesn't like this idea of selective politics where you ignore something within the context of something that you love or like or whatever, but you won't ignore it for other series, etc. Like, as somebody said before, we gotta call a spade or something. I don't know who Lawless Weeb is. His name sounds familiar. I've never spoken to this person, so I don't know. At least, have I? I don't know. Anyway, so they go into this whole thing. 6 was just essentially going off about a bunch of stuff. Blah 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 blah. Where do I come in? Okay, so never mind. Oh, I sent it. Okay. Pedo stuff, yeah, all that stuff right here, selective politics, etc. Call a spade, yeah, all that stuff. Never mind, I said it, I'm tweaking here. Is it more accessible though? Yeah, no worries, I feel you. This is so fucking much. For fuck's sake, I called them the Chad files, etc. Okay, were any of these stated inside the server? So the first thing I ask is, were any of these stated inside the server? Now, hot take, guys. Maybe I'm in the wrong. You know what? I've been wrong before. If something as a content creator, right? Let me actually start off with this. As a content creator, especially one that has a relatively smaller subscriber base, right? Most people don't even know who the fuck I am. As a content creator with a relatively, small subscribers. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that 10,000 people isn't anything too small, right? But like, as a content creator who essentially has only control over the following things: a YouTube channel and a Discord server, 2 Discord servers. I think, hot take, I think that whatever people do outside of my servers, specifically, whatever people do outside of my servers is not my fault, is not my prerogative, and is not on me, right? People have free will. I can't control what people say or do. If you say some fucked up shit, if you do some fucked up shit, and it's extremely blatant, I don't mind kicking a person off the server because they're showing a behavior that I simply don't agree with, etc., etc. Now, within the context of this conversation, I have to ask, was any of this stated inside of the server. Some are on stream. They're essentially referencing to, if you guys have followed, basically some of them are like some comments that he made during one of my streams, specifically with like him saying Wincest to a specific topic that I'll cover across as we're talking about it as I speak with these guys. But essentially, some of these are, I don't really think it matters though. The ones from the stream, I think the context is a little bit off. The context is involving a manga you were reading on stream with the cousin. So for context, there's a manga that I started reading that I found randomly that I started reading. It's called So You Weren't Into Me. One of the characters, essentially it's about a guy who has like what, 3 or 4 girls that are like in love with him, but like he's so dense that he just does, unless they actively straight up tell him, I am in love with you, and I guess they're all in love with him. Unless they actively they tell them that they are in love with him, which none of them do, he's never going to pick up on the idea that any of them like him. One of them just so happens to be his cousin, right? So, and mind you, everyone had a big reaction over it, right? So I think we were reading So You Weren't Into Me, and I think it was around the time that we found out the main protagonist's cousin was in love with him, and everyone had a reaction about it. I genuinely think that was blown out of proportion because he was clearly making a joke. I don't think he's okay with like actually like, you know, like incest and all that stuff. I just think, oh hey, let me just say something out of pocket, right? But I could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? I might just be considering it as not a big joke. But hey, you know what? If you don't think that's funny, I'm not saying that you have to. Like I said, whether or not he was making a joke, it was really weird. And him making fun of a female essay is not good. And there's no context for it. A joke in poor taste, granted, but a joke nonetheless. Actually, what the fuck was that comment? Is he talking about the essay stuff with Nami? Oh, no. And it was really weird. And him making fun of female essays. When the fuck did he do that? Not a debater. Whoa, existence. I'm sure Yuhabaka literally won't give a shit. Now the universal stuff. I'm not a power scaler. I'm not debating, nor do I care. Cool, I asked a question for it. Okay. Yeah, this stuff is just basic. I'm gonna be honest with you, some of this stuff just basically screamed to me, this guy won't engage with me in debates, by the way. I never said this to Six, but some of this stuff literally just screamed to me. He won't engage with debates or with any of like our points or whatever, and I don't like that, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, so that was that. Let's see here. That's that stuff. Y'all can put 2 and 2 together if you like. Solo leveling. Oh, Death Poly stuff, yeah. Best girl is the cousin. Family reunions always litty with her around. Hi, auntie. Like, yeah, I think he was making a cousin. I think he was making a joke. School is just as bad. Female teachers be getting caught damn near daily. Where were they when I was in high school? Again, a joke in poor taste, but a joke nonetheless. A joke nonetheless. I think it was in poor taste. I 100% do, but I think it was that nonetheless. Okay. Okay, he says this is a really major stuff and it's outside of the stream. This really major stuff is outside of the stream and I don't think it should be ignored. Something it's just because it's outside of the server. This is really serious stuff. I'm not exactly sure what any of this has to do with his ban. He constantly says he's not a power skiller nor a debater. He says, it never said anything. I explicitly said otherwise. I never said it had anything to do with it. I explicitly said otherwise. I'm going to be honest with you. I've said this live before as well. I don't care what people do outside my server. I've always been consistent with that. What you guys do outside of the server, listen, I can't police you guys. I can't sit here and think about what Memento Mori or Aster is doing outside of my server. I can't sit here and listen. I'm someone who tends to spiral out of control with things. I'm someone who tends to just spiral into specific conversations. If it's not about power scaling, if it's not about a specific situation going on with me in the moment, I don't need to fucking spiral and think about other people, which is why I constantly have to say, and it's not even, I have to constantly say, what people do outside of the server is their problem, because guess what? I have no control over it, dude. I have no fucking control over it, bro. What am I supposed to do? I'll talk about the other stuff in a second, but in reality, we have absolutely and objectively speaking no control over what people say or do, and from the comments that I've read, none of it is egregious as him actually being Islamophobic or into incest. Like, from what I read, and given the context of the cousin things being jokes, and I think they were framed as jokes, I'm not gonna lie, maybe I'm in the wrong, go back and check. I think that they were referenced, I think they were at least, written in the form of a joke. And number 2, as far as the Islamophobic thing, you guys are going to see, I don't even remotely agree with it. As a matter of fact, I say I don't agree. I'm not even defending it. As long as they are not actively being disrespectful or breaking the rules within the server, I genuinely don't care. I'm not into policing people. I said the same thing to all you guys that decided to the rules by insulting people within chat. Guys that decided to go against the rules by insulting people in chat. I told them I didn't care if they insulted people on a forum post or other comments as long as they didn't do it in my community. I've said this before. Like, there was a guy with like a Sonic picture that popped up a couple of times that he was even attacking people that were like siding with Naruto. I don't stand for that shit. As long as it's inside my community, I can control that. If you are someone who is going to say or state some wild shit in my community, I will time you out. I will fucking ban you. I don't care. That I don't need any fucking reason to go through, bro. But outside of the server, what the fuck do I do, bro? What pound of power do I have? It borders literally on illegality. This goes far beyond insulting someone. It gets to a point. I said, was this inside of the server? Question mark. Because I don't think he's being Islamophobic. I think he's making a comparison of people picking and choosing what they want to be offended by, which he kind of did point out himself. Let's just go back. Right here. I'm not saying he's a pedo, nor do I think that. I'm just not with the selective politics. We'll call them all out. Okay. I also don't agree with you guys telling me to, I also don't agree with you guys telling him to change a real N-word from his profile, because we have no right to actually do that. We can't police what somebody puts as their tagline on their own profile, and it's not like people are going to actively see that unless they click on his profile. That one is just weird to me. Listen, again, another hot take, but I think it's fucking weird that you as a moderator of a server think it's okay to tell someone to change the tagline of their thing. Listen, as long as you're not saying, kill all of the insert demographic of people, insert an ethnicity, as long as you're not saying some fucking insane shit like that, as long as you're not saying something like, I don't know, don't chimp out or something crazy. Like he's saying, and he's a real N-word. Really? That's weird. Like, why are you telling him to change that? I get it. You don't agree with it. You're not okay with it. Sure. All right. He said, now they said right here, I do agree with most of the stuff isn't super serious, but I do think if someone has a history of being bigoted or discriminatory to people, it shouldn't have a place here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be so fucking honest. I think, do I think people should go out of their way to ever say racist or bigoted shit? No. But at some point, the average person, I would say, has said something bigoted, has said something discriminatory, has said something absolutely foul, has used some kind of a slur. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm holier than thou. I'm not going to sit here and say that every single person here, every single person on the internet at some fucking point, or at least a good number of people at some fucking point haven't said some wild shit that they just don't agree with in the future. And I think, honestly, sometimes people want to go through this whole idea of like canceling others or doing all this shit. And you know what? If someone deserves to be canceled, I agree with it wholeheartedly. But like, when there's a bit of context going into these conversations, I think, hey, listen, I'm not just going to jump the gun and immediately attack someone unless they have shown a consistent series of behavior. And honestly, with the whole Muslim thing, that's the first time I'm seeing any of it, right? I don't know if he has anything else he's ever said about this stuff. I don't know if he has made this comment to some other Muslim person, etc. I don't fucking know. There's no other evidence. There's no other photos for me to go off of. This is as far as I am aware, these conversations that they've had, this is all I know. He said, if you don't like pedos, why are you Islamophobe? It hides, and then hides it, saying that it's selective when it like breaks terms of servers and legal issues anyway. It is comparing a religion to pedophilia. He said he doesn't see him as actually a pedo. He's just saying he's calling a spade a spade. He's calling a spade a spade. I'm sorry. Listen, am I going to go out of my way to call the Prophet Muhammad a pedo for marrying a 9-year-old girl within the context? No, I don't care. That shit happened thousands of years ago. You have people that are going to defend that shit because of a difference of time period or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I think it's fucked. I think, what the fuck? But also, hey, listen. What the fuck am I supposed to tell you? He says, I agree with the fact of not needing to call out double standards. I agree about the fact of needing to call out double standards too. That's not how you do it. And I say, and so, Let's see, even all that had some, even if he said all that wasn't somehow out of malice, there's some shit you cannot joke about, and I agree. You shouldn't be making some jokes, or you shouldn't be making some comparisons in 2026. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And again, it's the bare minimum complicit in allowing minors to be exposed to NSFW behavior, which is a crime if intentional. It is, if it isn't, we should not risk being associated with that kind of behavior. I don't know who the fuck is associating with that kind of shit. So, okay, going back to the whole stuff that they're referencing, right? So, from my understanding, and you'll actually see this as I go. Actually, I will go through with this because I do actually comment on that as we go along, right? I'm trying to focus on one thing at a fucking time. I'm trying to focus on one thing. There's a lot of things here that are going on. So, okay. I mean, he's clearly not defending Oda's decision to write Sanji trying to buy a sex slave. You even say that he agrees that it's bad, right? He said that. I think the comparison of Lilith sexualization, while I don't agree with it, is calling out a blatant hypocrisy. If you have an issue with Sanji trying to buy a sex slave, but you don't have an issue with a kid being dressed in such a sexualized way. I mean, listen, if you're going to call out Oda for it, but you're saying that you also don't like agree with the Kubo stuff, at least call out Kubo for it too then, right? Do I think his comparison about having an issue with Oda being associated with a child predator and the Muslim religion was even remotely proper to talk about? Not in the slightest. But I don't think that makes him an Islamophobe, and it doesn't even remotely fall within the definition. You know what? I could be wrong on that 100%. If you show me the definition of Islamophobia, I didn't look up the definition, all right? Actually, I think I did. It was something about like hatred. Let me see. Let me just look this shit up. Islamophobia. All right. An irrational fear, hatred, or prejudice directed at Islam and Muslim people, leading to systemic oppression, social marginalization, and discrimination. I mean, again, the comment wasn't I don't think the purpose of the comment that he made, while I don't agree with it, I don't think it was inherently, or at least it had the intention of targeting an entire group of people. He was just saying, if you have an issue with pedophilia, why do you fuck with this religion that happens to have a prophet that does this? Do I agree with it? Again, no. I never, and you'll see across my comments, I never once even remotely agree with it. He's clearly just bringing up the hypocrisy of people picking and choosing what kind of deplorable actions they're willing to look past. I used to do that in the past with one of my friends who was Christian, still is. Whenever we would go into it back and forth about religion. So for context, when I was like in 18 or 19, I started hanging out a lot again with some of my friends from high school, right? Some of my old classmates from high school, you know, the bros from high school, right? Now one of them was Christian, right? And it was around this time of period that I ended up, like, for example, to give you guys a bit of context, I personally ended up completely falling away from the religion where 2 years prior, I remember my mom had me do a confirmation because my mom is Catholic, right? I grew up, I basically, part of my life, especially in my teens and childhood, was just growing up in the church, having to do certain things. I didn't like that shit, man. And I personally grew a resentment towards Christianity and just Catholicism as a whole because I saw a lot of hypocrisies within it. So whenever he and I got into a back and forth about it, we talked about God, whether or not they're real, etc., 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 etc. And I brought up a point like this. It was stated in the Bible at one point that a man could, quote unquote, grape his wife if he wanted to have sex, even if she didn't want to. I remember reading about that at some point. I can't I could probably go double check it, but that was an argument that I used to use against my friend, and we would have a back and forth about it, and he was talking about interpretations and XYZ. Now, am I okay with, and now, do I look back at that and think, wow, I'm a Catholic phobe, a Catholicism phobe? No, I was just mad at the time because I just didn't agree with all the concepts of being forced to believe in a God that I just didn't believe in, etc., etc. Part of it was rage, but part of it was also me just being a 18, 19, 20-year-old guy that honestly didn't fully have a broadened world perspective, so I didn't at the time understand how offensive the things we're saying was. And you know what? Eventually, even with that friend, I told him, I'm really sorry about all the back and forth that we had regarding that stuff, and if there's anything specific in regards to your religion that I need to know, I can never talk about. And you know what he told me? Then let me know right now so I never cross that line. You know what he said? He said, don't talk about the Holy Ghost. Like, if there's one thing I just cannot have you talk about or ever, like, you know, come at, just never talk about the Holy Ghost. And you know what I did? I said, okay, noted. Never once did it. Never once crossed that boundary. So what's the point of me giving you this little whole excerpt? Well, it's quite simple. Do I believe
that I am inherently a terrible person because I used to come at the hypocrisy of a religion. No, I don't think I was a terrible person. I just think that a part of me was trying to call it a hypocrisy for something that I was led to believe was always good and that people just chose to willingly look past. And now as I'm older, as I'm near my fucking 30s, I'm like, yeah, no, I would never argue those things again. Whatever somebody chooses to believe, that's on them. I don't care. If somebody, I don't have a single thought about Muslim religion. I have a single thought about Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, like, and whatever somebody chooses to believe in, I don't give a shit. Believe in your God. I don't think, and I always tell people, I don't think I'm right either, right? I don't think I'm right either. There could be a God, all that shit, right? But at the end of the day, if I can come down to a conclusion, right? If I can come down to a conclusion that there are essential double standards between what people choose to ignore and agree with, depending on what piece of media or what religion or etc., that they're going on about, that's their fucking business, dude. I don't need to call out every little action, every little misdeed, every little thing that happens in a fucking Bible. And to be honest, if I can reach that thought process, I think someone else can reach it too. If I can sit here and say something along the lines of like, oh, if the past I tried to argue that, yeah, in the Bible it was stated that a man could have his way with his wife even if she didn't want to, and I can 100% believe that somebody else would try to make a similar comparison for any other religion. Do I think that all Christian men or all Catholic men are raped? No, I don't think that anyone is anything crazy. I just think that there are certain weird things that happen in these old scriptures, old texts, that in the modern day are kind of fucked. Do I think such a kind of comparison is okay nowadays? Not necessarily, but I don't think it's done with innate hatred for Muslims. I really do think he's not coming from a hate place where he actually hates Muslims. I don't think he should have attacked Clark's religion, but I genuinely disagree with the notion that he's being Islamophobic. That's all I'm saying. I just disagree with the notion that he's inherently being that he is being Islamophobic, that he is Islamophobic. I just disagree with that, right? Also, I'm not entirely sure about this whole Oda being associated with a child predator from the perspective that I don't know if Oda still associates with the person. Is this provable that Oda still associates with them in 2026? Spoiler alert, no one ever references that point again, so yeah, meaningless question on my end. Listen, I'm with you guys. I don't agree with people judging others based on what kind of a relationship they have. This was in regards to some polyamory stuff. What people do with their partners or however many partners they might have is no one's prerogative. Yeah, I don't care if any one of you or anyone else has multiple partners, has one partner, has a gay partner, has a trans partner. I don't give a shit. Just be happy. Just do your fucking life. I gotta turn on my AC. It's getting really hot. The problem that I have with this is that you're essentially saying that because he's friends with a guy that doesn't like polyamory, that's somehow a terrible reflection on him. Some people don't care for those that are in polyamorous relationship. Do I think it's weird to put that much energy into it? Sure, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Jeff needs to be held accountable for someone else's problem, having a problem with it. Yeah, they were just bringing up a whole allegation with that shit that was just completely irrelevant to all of this. But anyway, as for the feminism stuff, let's be honest here. There are two schools of thought with it. There are people who believe feminism is essentially nothing more than misandry, the female equivalent of misogyny, and feminism is the fight for women's exact rights, which is what it's actually about. I don't think it's insane that people who have legitimate issue with neo-feminism, for lack of a better word, because that's what's more commonly considered misandry. If I had to give it a guess, I'm pretty sure that's what he's referencing. Regardless, I don't think that's a big of a deal, especially if he's not, again, within the context of the server. And that's my whole point with this. All of this is outside of the server. I can't do anything about it, dude. Why are we focusing so much on what somebody's doing outside of the server? A, but even then, okay, sure. And B, especially if they're not, at least in my opinion, actively and objectively, right, without a shadow of a doubt, pertaining to a specific kind of behavior, like, I don't know, actual blatant fucking racism or Islamophobia. Again, within the context of the panels that they sent me, I think what he said was very bad, but I don't think he was inherently choosing to attack an entire group of people, or he was saying something. As a matter of fact, look at it from this perspective. Christianity and Catholicism, right? You know how people say that, like, oh, well, you know how, like, there's been constant jokes, especially with the last, like, 20 years, you can also thank South Park for it, about, like, Catholic priests, and stuff with, like, the Pope, essentially, you know, just being weird with children? Does that mean that every single priest or Pope or whatever the fuck, pastor,
Does that mean that every single individual that subscribes to the religion is likes little boys? No. No, we're not generalizing all that stuff. I don't think he's generalizing that stuff either. But anyway, I've talked about this with some legal ramifications of this. Just thinking about this, just letting some of this slide could have legal ramifications, not just for Chad, but Lost, but also us and you too, Eon, because having someone in the server who is sharing pornographic material with minors potential could get me, Thine, Bob, and yourself on the sex offender registry in America, because that is being complicit in someone doing those actions. Okay, so for context, they have a server channel, right? They have a server channel. I guess I have to cover that now, so now that it's being talked about. They have a server channel that has an NSFW tag right there, right? Okay. Six says that he is a minor, he's 17. Random Fullbringer says they're 15. Cool. Wait, what does it say here? Let me read. They ain't beating the predator allegations, immediately makes a porn channel and invite a minor? Did they invite the person to the direct server? I don't know. Like, the actual, like, NSFW part of the server, I don't know. I legitimately don't know. There are no other, at least as far as I'm aware with these, there are no other, just to be clear, there is nothing else that I have to go off of. Is this the last one? No, that is the last one. There's nothing else that I have to go off of. It just, two guys in there were minors, and there's an NSFW channel. What do I have to go off of that? Yes, should they be in there? No. Should there be an NSFW server in a place for kids? No. Is he actively showing them? I asked that. I do. Okay, so let's go into them. Sending or displaying offensive material to a person that's under 18, whoever, I mean, they're saying, Dude, they're saying all of these things, but I've asked, is he actively showing it to them? For the last one, I'm going to be honest, this is what I kind of meant with our last conversation. If he says he's not a power scaler, and this is just in regards to the whole Six stuff, he's not a debater, then don't debate with him, and don't try to have a power scaling conversation then. Just walk away from the conversation. Just don't engage with him. If you're trying to debate him on any topic or trying to provide your standpoint, at the end of the day, it just boils down to an opinion regardless of how much evidence you build up. I told you guys even before with my own scaling, I can't say I'm 100% right, and that's in the case for everybody, both here and outside of the server. People are going to choose to believe whatever they want to believe. Like this whole fucking shit show of a situation, right? Where is it? I mean, okay, so he says, I agree with most of the super serious stuff, but I think it a history of being discriminatory. I mean, I don't think he's being inherently bigoted or discriminatory, though. He's making a clear comparison between a religion, and a major figurehead married a 9-year-old, and a manga artist who was associated with a child predator, and an innate hypocrisy that comes from being okay with one and the other. While I don't agree with the comparison, because conversations about religions can get very touchy, I don't think that inherently makes him a bigot. And I agree with you 100,000%. But as long as he's not trying to break the rules within our server, I can't really control what he does outside. If he's breaking Discord terms of service by having a real N-word in his profile, that's a Discord thing. That's not for us to try and stop. Okay, I don't know if that's just making too much noise for you guys. I mean, yeah, if it goes against Discord terms of service to like have a real N-word in your profile, I don't know, report it then. I don't fucking know, report it then. Fucking report it then. What do you want me to do? Again, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? I don't entirely understand the context behind this. So he's part of the server that has an NSFW channel, and there are some kids in there. As long as he's not the one posting any images and he's not a moderator or community head in that server, I don't know how that's entirely on him. That's more of a reflection on whoever the fuck server that is. So I'm basically coming from this perspective. Allegations are something that are crazy. Allegations can quickly blow out of proportion, and, you know, essentially, the first thing that people put out is essentially going to be the first thing that people choose to believe, right? And I'm sure that there are some of you that don't agree with that you're like, no, I will always wait to see if there's more context for something before I make a decision on it. But that's not everybody. And I would say that over the larger part of the internet, if we don't take at least a little bit of context and nuance to try and, like, you know, truly rationalize what is happening, you can essentially technically ruin somebody's fucking life, dude. I don't agree with this idea of just essentially calling somebody out for some crazy weird shit and then just generalizing and making a broad claim on them without having objective evidence on it. All right, this isn't some Chud the Builder situation where the guy has video after video after video of him literally calling people, black people, the hard R, bro. All I know from this entire situation is that the guy is in a server, at least up until this point. All I know from this situation is that the guy is in a server that has an NSFW channel that I have not seen, that I don't know anything else about. And not only was one of my mods in there, but apparently somebody that was 15. That's all I have to go off of. I'm not a big fan of policing people because ultimately no one is perfect, and doing such a thing, especially this holier than thou, only means that if anyone is caught doing some weird shit, it's just going to be a reflection on the hypocrisy in addition to everything else. Human beings are flawed. Everyone has said or done something stupid on the internet. We can't control what's outside of the server. We can control what's inside of it, which is why I keep going back to, is any of this inside of the server? He said he was involved with the creation. He is a mod, and I just looked for 6's sake. Okay, cool. All spoilers will be censored, respected, none illegal, or listen in form of any. All spoilers must be censored within their respective channels or freely talked about in general spoiler chat. Nothing illegal nor illicit in any shape or form. Don't get smart about it. You know perfectly well what we mean, regardless of the local law. Reasonable violations of the rules will not be tolerated. You will be warned. I'm assuming that this is from their server, and it says that they are, and it says, I mean, they changed right here to real Nika. Right? Like, I don't know. Apparently they are, it says right here, I say right here. In all fairness, the guy has been supporting the channel since day one. He's one of my first members, probably my oldest, but I'm not trying to defend him out of some weird preferential treatment. All of this conversations that we've had on the server, at some point, somebody has said or made some weird fucking joke. Julio has made some very weird jokes as well, but I don't think it's an entire inflection. I think I was meant to say in reflection, but speech to text probably fucked it up. Of his character as a person either. I just think some people genuinely have a dark sense of humor, and that comes from a guy who had a genuinely dark sense of humor. I feel like this is a bit more nuanced. I had a fucking dark sense of humor. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've laughed at some really fucked shit. All right? I'm not going to sit here and say that in the past, when I was in college, I wouldn't make jokes about everybody. Black people, Jewish people, Mexicans, etc. Even my own fucking race, dude. White people. Would I say those jokes now? No. No, not whatsoever. Because you grow out of that shit. And that's not even to say like, oh, well, he hasn't grown out of it. No, he's a grown-ass man. But at the end of the day, not everyone is inherently trying to be a bigot. Not everyone's trying to say some shit. They're just like, oh, this stuff is super dark. I think it's funny. That's it. Julio makes some weird jokes sometimes too. Do I think that Julio's a terrible human being? No. I just think he makes some really fucked up jokes because he has a dark sense of humor. I think making a joke about like, oh, W cousin, family reunions are lit, etc. That's a dark sense of humor fucking joke if I've ever seen one. Okay, now, when he says the involvement with the creator of the stuff and he's a mod, I just look for 6's sake, I say, okay, now that is a little bit different, and I do agree. Yeah, that's a bit more problematic. He said, for context, no roles. I can access their porn section, the NSFW stuff that they have right here. Okay, cool. And age restricted. Okay, this channel contains adult content, age restricted. Do you wish to proceed? He says, I say, that's not clearly Islamophobic. They say, Aeon, he literally associated being a Muslim with being a pedo. That is very clearly Islamophobic. I'm saying, it's not clearly Islamophobic. He's not attacking an entire religion. He's just calling out and hearing hypocrisy. Which again, if you look back at the comments, the pictures that I've showed a couple times now, I think that's a reasonable conclusion to come down to. I'll be honest, as someone who hasn't believed in any kind of a god or religion for over a decade, when you find enough weird shit in religious texts, you're going to eventually find some parallels and hypocrisy between what people say and the text that they defend. Though I think it's inherently phobic to call it out, no. Would I personally go out of my way to make a comparison? Not really. But that's because there's a whole can of worms that comes along with that, because people get very emotional about their own religion, and I think that's true. He says, for context, no roles, I can access their porn section. Yeah, that's pretty bad moderation right there. Listen, I'm not going to defend the fact that they have a server where people can easily access their shit. I am literally saying I'm not going to defend that. And they invited some known minors into the server too. Yeah, that's quite fucked. Not defending that. And like I was saying before, that's literally legal issues. And it's part of why I was putting no mucking or asking who or what or why. And don't explain the bans because it can backfire hard. And I said, I understand that point. Cool. Also, for personal experience, Ty and I can attest, because we've seen in NSFW communities, it is extremely easy to put up safeguards with a role to hide porn channels from people who are underage. A lot newer servers are starting to require that you verify with an ID or something to verify that you are actually of age. Yeah, when I heard that part, I was like, nah, this is some kind of this. We need to get rid of HC because I'm not dealing with investigational bullshit. As someone interviewed that as because with this. Because I'm not dealing with any investigational bullshit as someone interviewed that still could slow down my procurement of my medical license, and that's bad for all of us. Okay, yeah, just some blurred out stuff that isn't archived and via a server tied to another server you'd have to pay for already by that point that does verify you automatically. Okay, so he's just referring to how what people have to go to do that. Okay, so I'm like, okay. With this point exactly, I'm just going to say this. I don't know how to run Discord. If anyone here has been in my Discord server since the beginning, the Discord server was extremely bare bones. Remember that whole point I brought up before about giving my mod administrative purposes? It's because they have, and I will always be grateful for this, they have essentially expanded and cleaned up the roles and the servers within the channel. Anybody who was here from the beginning can tell you that the server did not look specifically like this when I first set it up. I don't know how to run Discord myself. I can't speak for Chad. I can't speak for the guy or the other guy that's like moderating the server. I'm not speaking for them. I'm not saying this to defend them. What I'm saying though is, as someone, as just the guy on the internet who never really used Discord, at least, or even had his own Discord server, I never moderated. I never did any of that shit. I don't know how to handle any of that stuff. I barely know how to mess around with the fucking settings, dude. So, if someone like me, who I would say I'm pretty decent with, figuring stuff out, if someone like me didn't even know how to set that up and doesn't know how to set that up even if I knew how to, they're saying it's easily to set up, but here's the thing, Lapis, fine. You guys have moderated other Discord servers. You guys know how to do this shit. I'm not saying this to defend Jeff. I'm just saying, in general, if there is a possibility that they don't know how to set up the safeguards, and I think we're just kind of jumping into a conclusion that's kind of fucking crazy. Listen, I don't feel like banning him from the entirety of the fucking channel altogether, including streams. If you guys are very adamant about keeping the guy off the server, then sure. But he's also helped me out quite a bit when it came to gathering information, and ultimately, I, again, don't have any control over what any one of our channel members or even you guys say or do outside of our server. And I will get to this, and I will come back to this a little bit later. Even if he's moderating or helped create the server, at the end of the day, as long as there's no blatant CP happening and he's not the one actively going out of his way to bring minors into it, I don't really have much else I can say or do. I understand the fear that can come from somebody trying to perform an investigation if something like this happened, but ultimately, it's not entirely going to be reflected on us because we have no control over what happens outside of the server. As far as the stream goes, I'm not going to ban him completely. This is me just essentially saying, I can be flexible here and I can keep him off the server. He's still off the server. This is me being flexible. This is me saying, okay, I can meet you guys halfway. How about that? We can ban him. If you guys don't want him here, sure, fine. I have no issue with that, right? And I say, to be clear, I genuinely understand the concern. I believe you guys as well when you say that it's extremely easy to set up safeguards for NSFW, but to be honest, not everyone knows the entire ins and outs of how to do everything inside Discord. You guys know that it took me a while to figure out how to mess around with the settings and permissions. Again, I'm not trying to defend him, more so just saying that a lot of the times there's a bit more nuance to these things that we may not be entirely aware of from a glance. I understand that you're trying to play devil's advocate, that he has done good for you. However, we recently came into the situation about the NSFW porn aspect. If it can lead to a fallout or allegations against all of us, this gets out in any notable fashion. Settings and permissions aside, ignorance of the law doesn't protect against breaking the law. I agree with that. I also don't think you understand. I've met 5 professionals in the last 6 months who have waited for a few months to a few years after the graduation or certification actually get born side out because they were so much as mentioned in investigations for less. So my question is, okay, sure. So they were mentioned in these investigations, sure. My question is, okay, where in this other server that I have absolutely nothing to do with, that I've never seen before up until they brought it up, and that I don't even know how long they knew about, when are any of us mentioned in there? I guess, sure, Six was in it for a certain point. This person, Random Fullbringer, was in there for a certain point. I don't know who's who at this point in terms of certain names because people in my own server changed their fucking names a lot. I've seen the name before. I don't know if they're still the same name or whatever. But anyway. As far as Six goes, he says that he left the server. Fantastic, right? As far as Six went, he says that he left the server. Let me just double check to make sure I'm not making shit up. Yeah, like, what the fuck, I left immediately. Okay, cool. So, Six left immediately. Fantastic, right? So, if anyone were to come at Six, oh, Hey, oh, hey, you were in this channel before that had this stuff. Yeah, when you were a minor, you were in this channel that had you were in this other server that had NSFW stuff. And he says, yeah, right there. He left immediately. Cool. I've never seen this channel. I have nothing to do with it. It's outside of my server. It's not my business. It's not my prerogative. What the fuck do I have to do with it? Now, fine, I get it. Fine, I understand. For you who is trying to become a medical professional and you're trying to get your license, I understand the fear that can come from it. Believe you me. I'm not even going to call it paranoia. No. I'm just going to call it for what it is. I understand the need to be safe with this kind of stuff. We can't really place nice and carve exceptions. They weren't really, they weren't even a guilty party, Eon, but they ended up knowing about it over a month to a few, and it leads to some other kind of issues. I get it. You know, that kind of stuff could come back. Now, me personally, like, as far as I'm affected by this, listen, if Discord TOS or whatever comes down on that server, that's not on me. That's not on me. What the fuck do you want me to do? You want me to go out of my way to find a random server to fucking report it? At that point, you fucking do it! If you guys have such a fucking problem with it, you go fucking report it! You go fucking do something about it! That's not our... What the fuck else? You did! You banned him from the channel! Fantastic! Did I say no? Don't ban him from... I banned him from the server! Fantastic! You're mad that I didn't ban him from the streams? Yeah, because he's not bringing up weird shit on the streams like, oh, hey, this is a weird picture. No, he's not doing any of that shit. He's not making, he's not coming at Muslims. He's not saying all this crazy shit. For the most part, yeah. Out of all the comments I've seen from him, yeah, for the most part, he doesn't say or do any crazy shit. He's not showing any kind of crazy behavior within the context of especially within the context of my stream. So what the fuck do you want me to do about it? No, you want me to ban the guy. You want me to ban the guy. That's the problem. You want me to ban the guy completely, remove him from the community, all that stuff. Cool. He said, sorry, I got irritated, so I disengaged and went to help my mom with something. If he's banned from the server, he's also banned from the streams, like Thine said. I understand you're trying to create exceptions because he's a day one supporter and he helped you out a lot, but with these things happen, and sometimes you just have to cut people off. Him being a stream as a result is the exact outcome. I think it's phobic to generalize marginalize an entire group with a negative. That's fair. I think that's a fair perspective to look at it from. But again, I think that within the context of the conversation, I just don't agree. I don't think he's marginalizing an entire group of people. Could it be perceived in such a way? Yes. If you were to just post that fucking screenshot anywhere else, could you call him an Islamophobe? Yes. But it's the other screenshot of him saying he doesn't care with the preferential or pointing out politics or whatever, the selective politics. That to me says he's not attacking an entire group. Again, he's just calling out a hypocrisy. But again, if any of you, and listen, I don't know if any of you guys are agreeing with me on this. I don't know. I'm not checking, but like, I'll say this right now. So there are 4 mods, right? 6, Thine, Bob, and Lapis, right? Okay. So that day, like I said, my friends were over. 2 of my boys, their girlfriend, one of their girlfriends ended up showing up. So you know, we chatted for a bit. We were talking about. I was going through this shit the whole day with them, by the way. I was going through this shit the whole fucking day with them. I couldn't even, okay, big deal, what up, boo-hoo. I couldn't even fucking sit down and really play games right for the most part, just because I'm just constantly going back to this fucking point, bro. Even while I'm sending out all these text messages in between, like, us doing shit. Like, so I asked these guys, right? I got to a point later in the evening, this was around 3:24, 3:25, I got to a point later in the day where I'm like, okay, no, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna read you guys these comments, and I read them everything. I asked each and every one of them, I'm gonna read this out loud. You guys tell me. You 3, tell me what you interpret from this. So I read out all the comments. I read out all the posts. I read all the things. And they said, and I asked them, is he being Islamophobic? No. 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 All 3 of them said no. You know who else I asked? I asked my girlfriend. I asked 2 of my boys that I play PlayStation with. And you know what they all said? I read them the exact fucking screenshots that I showed you guys. And you know what they said? I mean, yeah, he shouldn't have said that, but like, I don't think he's attacking a whole group. I don't think he's inherently attacking a whole group. So, while there are 4 of you that think he's inherently being Islamophobic, there are 6 people that I shared this with that don't think he is. So, I'm not saying this to prove, see, the majority rule. I'm not trying to do this as some form of like appeal to popularity or whatever, right? I'm not trying to do that. What I am saying is, if I read the posts out as they are worded, and you have people also seeing it from this perspective of, should he have said it? No. But is he inherently trying to attack an entire race of people? Also no. So what I'm saying is, there is, once again, nuance to this. This isn't black and white. And look, guys, this is 2026. I gotta turn it on again. This is 2026. I get it. Nowadays, don't make any kind of jokes about anyone's religions. Don't make any comments on people's sexuality or whatever. I get it. I don't listen. I agree. Hey, let's keep all of that problematic behavior out of it, because honestly, it doesn't add anything, and it just causes issues. I agree wholeheartedly. But it's almost like there's this weird thing with people where, like, as soon as you find something that you don't like about a person, and you already don't like the person, as soon as you find something egregious about a person and you don't like the person, it's like we just immediately go to the worst case scenario and just generalize the whole situation to be as fucked up as possible. And I just don't agree with that. I don't like this idea. I don't like this concept. I think it is a very dangerous thing to do. I think that, again, people are not perfect. People can say or do dumb shit. And a lot of the times, they're just being either uneducated or ignorant. But I don't think there is an inherent hatred in their hearts. Maybe I'm just too nice. But anyway, it's like saying blacks commit more crimes despite being less of the population. That isn't a statistic, it's a dog whistle. It's the same for how some people tried to group up all brown immigrants, gay people, other groups, and murderers and rapists. I know it's a Quran or the other Abrahamic religions. I know what it's in the Quran or other. That doesn't mean I'm going to go and tell Muslims that you're a pedo as long as you're a Muslim. But it's not like he specifically called out Islam. He went straight for the followers of said religion, which happened to be Clark in this case. No, he literally commented on a single specific person. He asked that person, so why are you Muslim? That's what he asked him. Again, I don't condone it. But he's not attacking a whole race of people, dude. Not race, an entire religion of people. I understand that, Six, but ultimately the server and the channel are mine. I'm replying to this right here where Six says that he had to disengage and got irritated, and I don't think that any of this was even remotely egregious enough besides the channel server stuff for a complete ban. Which again, I say, besides the channel server NSFW stuff, I don't think it's all necessary for a complete ban. Like I said, what people do outside of the server is not my prerogative, and I don't believe in policing people around, especially outside of the community. He's not saying that all Muslims are pedophiles. He's telling one guy why, he is asking one guy why he is Muslim if he has such an issue with pedophiles. Again, I get the thought process behind what you are trying to say, but it doesn't entirely follow up with what he wrote, because once again, he's calling out a selective politics. Think about it like this: it's not about if he should get banned or not. It's about what the consequences should be. This applies to both stream and Discord, not just Discord. And again, I agree about the policing people as well. My primary issue is the NSFW stuff, which has greater ramifications. Again, I think the rest we could toss out. Eon, the server aspect of his private server is something we need to handle, given we learned about it. Okay, so if you needed to handle it, then do something fucking about it. Don't drag me into this. Because now you're dragging me into a situation that I nothing to do with. I just found out, and ultimately, again, it's outside of my community. What the fuck am I supposed to do? People have free will. I'm not gonna go out here and fucking try to now start a witch hunt on some guy that, again, I don't think is, I already said that too many times. In accordance with that will that ban include the Library of O'Hara? I don't know if he's in there or not, because I'm not there. I think it's perfectly fine. And I said, I will stick with your decision. Mind you, I said right here, I will stick with your decision to keep him off the server. I'm not going to ban him from the streams. I agree with Thine about the NSFW stuff. Again, I'm not agreeing with anything crazy. I'm agreeing with the stuff that, yes, the NSFW stuff, that's fucked. There's no point in having any kind of correlation with our server, especially if we don't do that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to change my mind on banning him from the streams. I will meet you guys halfway, but that is as far as I'm taking it. And even Thine says right here, I think it's fine personally, given that given we did that, we also had the capacity to say we did what we could where the issue was located, i.e. Discord, correct? Nah, no ban from O'Hara. He helped build it. As long as he doesn't do anything weird with it, I don't see a reason to remove him. I'll check the library every now and then and make sure that nothing weird is happening. I don't think this will blow out of proportion. I thought this wasn't going to blow out of proportion, by the way. Alright, I understand that. However, I feel like the situation would blow up to a way larger than it needs to be. Ironic that you fucking said it, bro! Fuck, I'm sorry. It could potentially be legal shit if certain things happen. What legal shit, bro? What the fuck is it gonna come down to us, man? Come on. If you're saying you understand that, why are you telling me later on that you don't like the fact that I didn't ban him from the chat? Why are you agreeing with me, then push back and say, okay, you know what, Eon, I think, okay, and get push on with it. Fine. What I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll roommate in on the details. I wanted to double check. O'Hara in the stream being checks points, I understand. Yeah, the streams in O'Hara. If you guys think we're better off with him being out of the Discord, that's fine. Again, I'm fine with it. He says definitely shouldn't be in the server given the info we found out. Okay, cool. Honestly, I don't appreciate the defense of Chad's Islamophobic comment. Now, here's where he just gets fucked, and here's where I think things just got This is where I think I knew for a fact things were completely blown out of proportion. 6, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think you're being a fucking crybaby here. I thought you were being a fucking crybaby. I thought, honestly, like, bro, don't be such a fucking snowflake, dude. Okay, honestly, I don't appreciate the defense of Chad's Islamophobic comments. I wasn't defending him. I said it multiple times. I'm not condoning it. I don't agree with it. I don't think he should have said it. I've said it multiple times. Islamophobic comment when it's just blatantly attacking Clark for his religion for no apparent reason. I understand he was trying to put out a double standard, but it still doesn't dismiss what he said or make it not blatantly Islamophobic. I think the nuance does make it not blatantly Islamophobic. Can you please apologize for defending this comment? If you choose not to, me and Lapis will be leaving the server. I have a lot of Islam friends, Clark specifically, and I'll be honest, it just makes me angry when I see comments like this. It significantly affected Clark, and while now he's perfectly fine, let's not ignore the impact that it had on him. He's doubling down on the comment. It just rubs me the wrong way. Now, as far as Clark goes, I don't know if he's in the fucking server or not. I don't know if Clark is in the server. So, I don't know if I've actually interacted with Clark that much. That you say that's your friend. And I understand. I understand why you are being so defensive, because that is your friend and you want to protect your friend. But, what the fuck am I apologizing for? It just rubs me the wrong way that you defended this. Again, 6, I completely understand where you're coming from, but it's not blatant Islamophobia. The guy isn't literally going out of his way to call all Muslim people pedophiles. He's asking a single individual who happens to be Muslim why they are Muslim if they have such a big issue with pedophiles. It's not black and white. I've said this before, I'll say it again. There are things that we all perceive to be black and white within a massive fucking spectrum. And to some people, there are things that are either going to be completely black or completely white. But there is a massive gray area. Most of that spectrum is a massive gray area. And I think, in general, depending on the person, we're going to have different things that are either black and white to us and different things that are more open, to not being black and white. In other words, being gray. It's not black and white. It's inherently in poor taste. I won't even try to dispute that, but he isn't remotely attacking the entire religion. What he does outside of the server is not my concern. If you want to leave the server, it's completely fine. I'm not going to try and stop you, but I think you're generally boring this out of proportion. By the way, I never once stopped these guys from trying to leave. I really didn't. If you want to leave the server, you can. He says, I'll give you one more chance to give an apology because I generally don't want to leave the server. We are friends and I've been in this community for so long and love the great community you fostered and the people in it, but I will not allow you to support blatant Islamophobic comments. I don't care if you don't see it that way. Yeah, I don't care if you see it that way. I don't give two shits if you choose to see it that way. That's not my prerogative. That's not my business. Clark was significantly negatively impacted. You said he's fine now, so what the fuck is the issue by this? And I really don't even see how that defends it, considering he's still attacking Clark personally and his religion. Can you prove this? Can you show me this then? Because you guys never showed it. You just made a fucking claim and you never showed me more comments about him going directly after Clark. No matter which way you twist it, you can't take it that way. I need you to start thinking with your head and not your heart. I am thinking with my head. I think that calling out somebody and making out crazy allegations for somebody is something that I think can essentially spiral out of control. Hot take. I think that crazy allegations, especially without blatant, objective, irrefutable proof of a specific perspective, can grow out of proportion. And I'm not just going to blatantly agree with some crazy shit, especially if, again, there is at least a decent bit of nuance, which I think, based on one of the comments I showed you, there was. He literally picked out of all things he could have picked. That is what he picked, Clark's religion. He may not actively be trying to contribute to it, but it is hate speech and it is Islamophobia. And you know what? If you think it's Islamophobia, if you think it was Islamophobic, and it can be perceived that way, you know what? Fine, I agree. It can be perceived as Islamophobic. It can be perceived as Islamophobic. I will say this right now. I am wrong. I will agree. If you can view that entirely, even with all the other content, if you still view it as blatantly Islamophobic, you know what? I'm not even going to try to dispute that with you. Is it fucked? Sure. But do I think that the guy himself is? No, I don't. This is when PewDiePie said the N-word. It was literally racist. It was literally racist regardless of the content, and Pewds acknowledged this. Yes, but here's the difference between this and PewDiePie. I don't know a lot about the whole PewDiePie situation, but I do remember watching a video about that whole situation. I think it was last year, and PewDiePie was upset in a video game and was calling one of the guys that I think killed him or was beating him or whatever the hard R once or twice or multiple times. I don't know how many times he said it. I just know he was in a position of anger. He was saying some really fucking racist shit. There is no room for interpretation. That shit was just blatantly, why the fuck, if you are angry, PewDiePie, you are yelling out the N-word as the hard thing. With Jeff, again, I don't see any anger from I don't see from the tone of the messages. I don't see any anger in his tone. I just see him trying to bring up a point that, again, fucked, I don't agree with, I don't condone, but there is a logic to it that I understand from the perspective of, again, calling out double standards. Again, I will post a comment. I'm not saying he's pedo or not, nor do I think that. I'm just not with the selective politics. We call them out. I don't think this is even exactly the same as the PewDiePie situation. But sure, you know what? Okay, fine. Moving on. By the way, sorry I yelled earlier. I'm sorry. Like, this shit really has me heated because it's like, what the fuck, dude? I didn't think I would ever have to fucking do this. And I'll get into that in a little bit. If any of my friends were trying to defend him saying this, I would make them apologize or cut them off. It's not just that. It's not just you, so don't think you're doing this because it's you, to clarify. I either want an apology or you saying you aren't apologizing. Don't piss me off. Ooh, wow, I'm so scared. All I'm asking for is an apology. I'm not asking. I get the feeling of being indebted to someone for their help and aid and helping you out and being there. But if someone does something wrong, something very wrong, I would ask them why. Okay, did you ask them why though? Did you ask Jeff why? Did you hit them up personally then? This isn't a case of there is nuance. This is literally unacceptable behavior and should not have been defended. I don't defend it. When do I defend it? When do I say I think it's fine? I don't do that. Said that it wasn't warranting moderation because it wasn't in our server would literally been okay because that has been a normal stance in this community since we started. Because it wasn't in our server would have literally been okay because that was a normal stance since we started. Yeah, said that it isn't warranting moderation because it wasn't in our server would literally been okay because that was a normal stance of this community since we started. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Again, what do I do? What do I do here? Now I'm just stuck between a rock and a hard place. So now they're just asking me to apologize, give them some time. I'm with Six on this. I've stated I love and compassion, but there are people who are willing to exploit that. I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm being exploited here. I'm one of those people who have their kindness taken for advantage, and I get that for you, and you know what? That's the case. I've been taken advantage of too, Lapis, but guess what? I still choose to see the good in some people. Not in everyone. If somebody shows me a clear bigoted behavior consistently, yeah, no, I'm not going to give them that level of compassion, but Jeff, am I wrong for seeing it that way? That he's not trying to inherently attack an entire group of people. The way that he said it and the way that it's being interpreted are just two completely different things. In a situation like this, however, we need to look at this from an objective lens. Yes, I was looking at it from an objective lens. Things could go south, especially for someone, if we're just making crazy allegations for nothing. I want to be very clear that I really do not want to leave this community that I've helped you build. I really mean that. I don't want to leave this community. I don't want you guys to leave anyway, but I'm not going to stop you from doing it. However, from an integrity standpoint, I cannot stand here any longer and not let something like this go under the radar. All I want is just an apology. That is all. We don't need reparations. We want to be by your side. Cool. Fine. Again, I will stand with Lapis. The bigoted comment for a comment can be bigoted without a person being so too. Yes, a comment can be bigoted. I agree with that. A comment can be considered bigoted without the person being so too. We agree. But is the person a fucking bigot then? If a person says something bigoted, but they are not inherently a bigot, they're just saying something because, they're just trying to prove a point, does that inherently make them a bigot? I think depending on the context, yes and no. Listen, and I replied, I don't even remotely appreciate the fact that you guys are trying to give me an ultimatum just to force me to apologize. That stuff happened outside of the server, is in every sense of the word out of our controls, and it's not like I would ever actually allow comments or behavior like this be made within the server. Yeah, if this shit happened in the server, I would cut that shit out immediately, instant ban. I wouldn't even think about it twice. There are only so many things we can control over, and trying to police people is something I inherently disagree with. I am being consistent. I specified multiple times that I wasn't defending him. I even agree with the comment being entirely in poor taste and something that he shouldn't have said in the first place. I have. You can go back and check all the logs and everything I've said. With that being said, for as much as I don't believe that I even remotely need to give you guys an apology, I will say I'm sorry. So Lapis, Six, there was your apology. That was it right there. That was it. I don't feel even remotely the need to give you an apology. I'm not going to apologize. If you guys wanted to, guys, I'm so sorry. Oh God, oh geez, oh God, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have tried to apply some of the nuance to the conversation that isn't as black and white as you four perceive it to be. I'm sorry. You know what? Sure. But guess what? An apology that I genuinely don't feel like, hey, I deserve, just hot take, if I don't feel like I deserve, if I have to give you an apology, and I'm someone who will apologize in an instant, but in a situation where I don't feel like I am, where I have said anything egregious, where I have not defended him in the slightest bit, when I have not condoned any of the stuff, where I have agreed with keeping him out of the server, where I have agreed with the NSFW stuff just being fucked up, why the fuck would I apologize? Where the fuck is the logical reason that you need an apology for? And if anything, you guys don't deserve a fucking apology in the slightest bit, because guess what? You weren't affected. It was Clark. I don't owe Clark an apology either, because I don't know Clark. I don't know if I've ever spoken to him. I don't think I did. Why the fuck am I now apologizing for this shit, bro? What the fuck? Am I wrong for this? I don't believe in forcing an apology. I just want to point out that personally, I wanted to explain my stance and state that I will stand in solidarity with the others, and I respect that. Fine, I respect that entirely. I can respect that, but ultimately, I think that this is blown out completely out of proportion. I think it really has, and look at where we're at now. Either way, I'm over this conversation. If that apology isn't good enough for anyone, and you still want to leave, I'm not going to hold it against them. I don't have the energy to feed into this conversation anymore, and that's what I thought it was, right? And that's where I thought I left it, right? So now let's go back to all of this, right? So looking back at this, okay, unban Zode, to be clear, I do believe in giving people another chance, especially if they haven't proven me wrong yet, and they haven't even remotely attacked or said anything crazy in the server or anything remotely racist. It's entirely up to me to be able to not allow myself to be distracted by somebody's comment. I can choose to ignore them, but I don't do that. And it's because it's very hard for me to do that that I partially stopped streaming. You wanted me to give you an apology? I gave you the apology. If you didn't like it, that's a you problem. Unironically, that is a you fucking problem. I cannot give you an apology, or at least a wholehearted one, if I genuinely feel like I've done nothing wrong in this scenario, and I've tried to be as flexible as I can be, right? So he seriously says right here, so you seriously need to think of your channel. Wait, what else? We don't appreciate you stripping our perms. I'll get into that in a second, and there's a reason why I did that. Lastly, I'm going to go over this shit and telling you that I respect your compassion and everything, but you will be torn to shreds. Yeah, sure. Go into it. Go into a whole thing, make a video, do whatever the fuck you want explaining why it is Islamophobic. And you know what's crazy? I'll agree with you. Yeah, you can perceive it as Islamophobic. You're saying it's blatant. I disagree with the blatant. I disagree with this word blatant. But if you want to view it as Islamophobic, I think it's up to each and every one of you to choose what exactly it is you're going to choose to believe. Because honestly, given the context of the situation, I think inherently not Islamophobic, but you know what? Hey, I could be wrong. You still need to think about your channel not just as a community, but also as a business. You make money from your videos, and because of this, you can't see it just as a hobby, but as a job. Yeah, I don't know why the fuck you're telling me this. I do see it as a job. I am tired every day from standing in front of a fucking computer screen for 8 goddamn hours, reading the same goddamn stories over and over again, just to find the slightest bit of fucking detail. You know, not to really plug myself, but like, when I told you guys that, like, I am somebody who has been thinking about this fight for fucking years, and I have been thinking about trying to be as meticulous as possible with it, just to be clear, right here, 18-word fucking pages, I'm only still talking about Naruto. I do take this shit seriously. I do treat this as a job. I am trying to do my best every day to try and make something of this channel, which is one of my biggest anxieties. If someone says the wrong shit and you are close in ties with them, you have to take that shit seriously. But I'm not close in ties with Jeff. He is a member of my channel. He supports me. He simply is supporting my channel as a member. Actually, I don't know after this stream. I don't fucking know, because all this shit I'm putting out, what the fuck am I supposed to do, man? Like, I'm really sorry. I can only take it seriously to the extent of what can I manage to control from this, and I did. I took action. You know, well, you guys took action. I simply did not ban him from the streams. The fact that you weren't taking my warnings about the NSFW shit in the server seriously shows you aren't serious. What did I not take seriously? I agreed with you guys. What more do you want from me? Mind you, we cleared our names for potentially ending up on a sex offender registry list, but not you. What the fuck did I do that's gonna land me in a sex offender registry list? That a guy who is a member of my channel has a server where there's an NSFW channel? and minors just so happen to also be in the server, how the fuck does that reflect on me? Where the fuck is my free will in any of that? I didn't know about any of this shit until you brought it up, so how the fuck am I supposed to show up in a sex offender registry list? Man, shut the fuck up. If this shit surfaces up and the wrong person gets it, you will be on the list, no ifs, ands, or but. The law is the law. No, yeah, the law is the law. And I don't think the law is gonna call me a sex offender because of some other shit that I have absolutely no involvement with that I never even knew about until that moment. What the fuck, bro? I don't know. Now, for the final thing, yes, we don't associate with someone who dismisses Islamophobia. If you choose to view it as me dismissing Islamophobia, cool, fantastic. The four of us would be lying to ourselves. You said we were okay with it, especially because we have spines. I don't know, man. You might have a spine or you're being a real fucking snowflake here. I'm gonna be honest with you. So we spoke and told you how we really felt. You never had a spine in that conversation about either apologizing or not. I didn't have a spine. I stood my fucking ground. And I told you guys I don't appreciate you guys forcing an ultimatum on me. So where the fuck is the lack of a spine? And also telling you guys I am willing. This is what's called being flexible. This is what's called being someone who can, okay, you know what? I don't entirely agree, but you guys genuinely seem to be very passionate about it. You guys are very adamant about it. So you know what? I will be flexible. I will not fight you on this. I will allow the guy to be banned from the server. And you know what? He's still banned. Crazy. So yeah, I don't know what this whole thing about a spine is. Cool attacking me. We have spines, so we spoke up. We told you how you really felt. And told you how you really felt. You never had a spine in that conversation about apologizing, and I and the rest stand on our principles, no racism or religious intolerance. Bob was a former Muslim, Six is Muslim friends, Stein next people who are the Islamic faith. I have a friend who survived the fucking Syrian civil war. I and the rest of us can't let this shit slide in good faith. Let me be clear, the rest of us, we believed in your cause, but straight up siding with you and swore not to stand with it. We're leaving, no ifs, ands, or buts, not trying to appease, you screwed up. Yep, I guess I did, and now you have to pay the consequences. I guess I am, and hopefully learn to not screw up again. What does this mean for the future? I don't really care. I don't really give two shits. Alright, so it's all of that. So, Thine said he was... Sorry. Thine said she was also saying type shit. I removed my Toriko scans, given I made that thing from top to bottom. And you know what? If you want to remove your channel from this, I'm not gonna fight you on it. I didn't feel some type of way. Reasonable. They started up that channel. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna feel some type of way. I think it's genuine whore clap that you've been handling this, Eon. I genuinely love your message. Scaling has been less toxic, but scaling should be less toxic, but that doesn't mean addressing toxic individuals in the community when they behave as such. But again, you guys are I think. But whatever, we've gone through this. Like HC, yet you'll get on us and others for far less. What far less? Okay, so to be clear, I guess I've come at people in my server, and I quote unquote I've come at people in my server because within the context of the server, if you guys don't know, and even the context of our chats, a lot of people make jokes about me, my girlfriend, etc. Right? A lot of people make context about me, my girlfriend, etc. And you know what? She's okay with the jokes. I'm chilling with the jokes. Like, Eon's a fossil. Eon eats beans. They're always trying to catch me with some shit like that. She's AI, etc., etc. But I have drawn the line. I did draw the line at certain comments that my community made in regards to my specific sexual comments made by my made towards my girlfriend and I, right? Like one of them was is the reason why Eon is taking so long. I'll show you guys one of them, right? And where the fuck is it? Let me just, I guess I just have to type in the word pegging, right? Okay, you guys think that Naruto versus Luffy is taking so long because Eon is busy trying to connect to his girl to the pegging machine via Bluetooth? Okay, so even Six said that was funny. And you know what? I will say, very creative joke. I'm not mad about it, but I did set up a boundary. Let me see if I can fucking find it real quick. Eon, when is the next stream? Yeah. I say, I'm not comfortable with you guys talking about my relationship with my girlfriend in a sexual manner. That's kind of all I came at them for. I don't really come at people within the context of the server. I don't feel like I do. Maybe I'm making it sound less than it is. If somebody has something where they feel like I came at them, show it to me. Honestly. If you feel like I came at you very hard for anything, let me see if I could just find it through this again. Let me see. Where the fuck is the comment? Jump. Okay, yeah, jump. Okay, so what do I do here, right? I say, yeah, not gonna lie, that might be a one-day timeout. And what I hit up Aster with later, I don't post it here, but what I did with Aster later was I just let him know, hey, and mind you, I untimed out Aster. I untimed him out after like 40 minutes or some shit because I wasn't checking my phone. I said, yo, listen, honestly, like real talk, let's just keep the jokes a little bit tasteful. I'm fine with all the jokes you guys make. I'm fine with all the crazy shit, but hey, I just think that there are certain things that are kind of pushing it. So saying that like, I'll get on you guys or other people far less. What do I get on you guys for? I just asked you guys, hey, if you're going to ban someone from the server, let me know why. Because when it comes to shit like with this Halo Jeff stuff, sorry, when it comes to the shit with like Handsome Chad stuff, I think that innately banning the guy just off the rip without even remotely consulting me. Again, did I fight on it? No. At the end, I said I will agree. He's off the server, etc. But I would like you guys to at least express that stuff. And this is one of the reasons why I'll get to the last point that I need to cover. Yeah, I get, oh, well, we can't police them outside of the server. If you had a motherfucker who was a known rapist show up and was like, I want a power skill, I don't think you'd let him inside. Yes, I wouldn't do it because, yes, he would be harming others in the space. That's just enabling. I'm not, is he a rapist? Because that's a very big allegation. You're now comparing him. You see how now you're comparing him? For the sake of a comparison, you're not comparing him to an R word or whatever? If I had a motherfucker that was a known, no, I would not let that person in my community. You have shown me that within the context of that server, they have an NSFW channel that people can just easily access. I have not once seen a comment saying, yo, you guys should check out the NSFW channel. Do you guys have any comments like that? If you do, show it to me. But you didn't. You didn't present anything else. You just said, well, he created the Discord server. There is an NSFW channel. It says right here, age-restricted stuff, but people can still access it. Bro, what? How is that a fair comparison? Appreciate the work. You take it easy. I'm gonna head out. Okay, sure. So they left. So now there's a point here that Lapis did make that now I need to veritably cover, and it's right here. Lastly, I'm going. We don't appreciate you not telling us about stripping certain perms from us. Okay, so just to be clear about this, because now I have to fucking start exposing some shit. Alright, now I have to start exposing some shit that, genuinely speaking, I was trying to keep on the down low. And, you know what? Let it not be blown out of proportion, because I thought this shit is crazy, this is a very big allegation, and I don't want to move forward with anything or let anyone know, because it could be crazy. And I'm going to get into some things about that in a second, but let me just be clear about these things. Okay, so somebody in my chat asked me, I probably should have covered this, I think you guys will be able to still figure out who the fuck it is. I know that some people in the server know of this conversation, so for some of you in the server that know of this, or at least know that this person brought it up, you probably know who it is. But anyway, quick question. What do I do if Six, one of the mods, sends me a voice message where he says he'll rape me and kill my entire family and then quickly deletes it? My response, what the fuck? Mind you, this is just straight up DMs. Did he send this to you personally? Question mark. Is there any way you can provide evidence for this, because my hands are genuinely tied if you cannot? So I'm saying, so mind you, this happened days after this whole fuck-ass situation. The whole situation with Jeff, again, allegations, context, all that shit, this happened like a week and some change afterwards, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that that these allegations are either real or they're not. In the debate server, I made a joke about his stream audio, so he replied with that. Unfortunately, he deleted it immediately while I was listening to the audio. I said, so just to be clear, he posted this in one of my servers. In what channel? He says yes in the debate server, then he immediately deleted it. Others got punished for less in there, in general. Was there anyone else active that could likely have heard it? Hard to tell. Juwana Man, Jake, and Aster were in there as well, having a conversation about Pokemon. But do I think they were too busy typing to have time to have listened to it in time? Okay, cool. Next. So that's the first one, right? Second one. I know it was probably just a joke from him, but I just found it so damn hypocritical of him. He said so many times that it doesn't matter if it's a joke or not, and timed out / banned people for saying shit like that, yet he can't hold himself accountable. I'm really sorry that you had this experience. If Six really said all of the terrible things that you heard in that voice message and you feel like it was targeted towards you, then I genuinely want to apologize from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the server. This is not behavior that I condone in the slightest bit. I'm not sure if it was meant for you or somebody outside of the server. Regardless, it is not justifiable in the slightest bit. Thank you, Eon. I appreciate it. Yeah, I noticed this. When he makes jokes and is hypocritical and stuff like that, I've noticed some behaviors, but you know what? Again, he's a kid. If I was saying dumb, crazy shit again at those ages, yeah, I'm not surprised that Six. I'm not surprised that Jake. I'm not surprised that so many people use crazy ass language, fucked up shit, or whatever. People can say fucked up things outside of the server because guess what? At that point, if we're sitting down and playing a video game and they say, I don't know, our opponents are not saying that they did, but saying if our opponents are cocksuckers, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, this guy's a homophobe. No, I'm just gonna be like, oh, you know, that's video game banter. I was like, yeah, I noticed. Yeah, for sure, no problem. Please do not hesitate to bring up anything else. If you do have evidence, present it as soon as possible so I can act quickly. So I'm asking, show me what the fuck is happening. I need proof from this. Thanks for this. I wish you and your human girlfriend have a wonderful day. Thanks, I appreciate it. I'll let her know. Okay. Yo, and then I hit him up 3 days later. Yo, and this is going back to the whole, like, some people know who this person is because they comment on it on the server, which then they deleted their comments at my request. Yo, oi, I would appreciate it if you could try not to spread that little incident with Six from a few days ago. I'll go through this. A few days ago into the server and just keep it between us for now. It's obviously a little late for that, but like I said, without any evidence for the allegation, it just ends up becoming a massive shit show of a drama. I was planning on talking with him today and letting him know that I was aware of it, regardless of whether or not it was meant for the server or some other conversation, to make sure that he keeps that kind of behavior away from the community. Again, I cannot control what Six, Stein, Lapis, Bob, Aster, this person, any of you do outside of my channel or my server. I cannot control that. I have been consistent with that since day one. All right, my apologies. I'll delete the messages right away. Just to be clear, are you sure it was directed towards you specifically? Because I'm trying to clarify again. Or was it a message that could have been meant for someone else? He says he directly replied to my message. That does imply, but I only asked because he could have sent it to the wrong server. I'm giving Six, again, the same benefit of doubt that I gave Jeff because, again, with context, it could be something bigger than what it actually is. I haven't seen this kind of behavior from Six before, so I do need to be sure. Once when I made a joke because he texted in hashtag memes, even though he forbid it to everyone, he replied with die, but this instance shocked me. Okay, cool. Yeah, I recommend Six is to install a bot, but he declined. Yeah, I recommended Six to install that bot, but he declined. He's referring to, like, the deleted messages as an admin. I hope you can understand that this is difficult for me to do anything about it. Yeah, I tried to look this up to, wait, where the fuck did I post that? I have to, where the fuck is that in the comments? I would appreciate it if you did that. I'm really sorry you had this experience. Shit. I have to now go into the DM so I can, like, properly do it. If you guys will give me, like, if you guys need, like, the other screenshot, I can go into this. If you can understand this is difficult for me to do anything about. I tried to look up if it was possible to recover the messages as an admin. So this is me just telling them that, like, I'm trying to look up to see if I can find a way to, like, you know, check out deleted messages. And even they say, yeah, I recommended him to install a bot because apparently there was a bot. Before this happened, I didn't know that there was a bot that you had to install into the servers in order to be able to know if somebody deletes some messages or changes a log or whatever, right? I didn't have this set up. He said he recommended it. Even Six and Thine over here, even Six and Thine talk about it, and I'll show it down a little bit later. If I talk to Six about this and he says he has no idea, if I talk to Six about this and he says he has no idea what you're talking about and no one can corroborate what you're saying, then it's going to be a he said, she said situation. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just hope you don't think I'm lying. I don't think you're lying. I'm willing to trust you. You wouldn't bring up an allegation. I'm willing to trust that you wouldn't bring up an allegation as insane as this. Unfortunately, I hope you can understand that without even the slightest bit of evidence, there's not much that I can do without starting a witch hunt. I was too shocked to take a screenshot, but I thought that would have been done much. I'm assuming he's saying that wouldn't have done much either. I don't think that would have done much either. I have been trying to be more active in the server, so I will definitely keep an eye out on any kind of specific behavior, and I'll keep an eye on Six. I can talk to him personally if you want me to, but I'm not sure that it'll bring up more. But I'm not sure if that'll bring more drama to you than anything else. If you see anything that even remotely close to something like this again, please at least have some kind of screen recording, because at least that will be more tangible evidence. That's something I can work with. Otherwise, for now, I'm sorry, but there's not much I can do without making this a big drama, which I didn't want it to become, and this is part of the reason why I haven't been that vocal with the mods about certain things. Specifically removing their permissions, and I will get into that in just a second as to why that had to happen. I don't think it would be a good idea to talk to him. He can act rather immature something. Okay, I don't care about it. He can just deny it. Sure, yeah, just wanted to make sure. Okay, sure. So, I do go talk to Six. And you know what? So and you know what? Nothing crazy here. Just me helping him out with some desktop audio. I'm gonna post this for you guys so you guys can hear the message that I sent him.
Yo, what's good, Six? Good morning. So the reason I'm hitting you up is because somebody earlier this week hit me up saying that you, in one of the chats of the servers, replied to one of their comments saying that you would, and I quote, rape their whole family or whatever. I don't know. These allegations are pretty fucking severe, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. But they, as I was going through it with them, I asked them if they had any objective evidence to back any of this up. You know, something that can support, any of this. And they said that you deleted the message or whatever. I don't fucking know. But they said, yeah, you pretty blatantly stated those things and then you deleted it pretty quickly while they were still listening. I don't know, man. Now, listen, like with the Jeff stuff, I'm just going to give you the benefit of doubt because I think there's a bit of nuance to everything. And I'm just going to assume that you were sending that message out to somebody outside of the server and you accidentally sent it inside the server. You probably realized it too late. You sent it in. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm choosing to go with that assumption only because they can't provide any evidence and I can't really do much without it. I'm not, by the way, I'm not mad. I'm a little fucking irritated, but I'm not necessarily mad or anything. I'm not going to give you a side eye. I'm not going to think of you any less or whatever. You know, you're a kid. Kids say stupid shit. I used to say even wilder things when I was anywhere between 17 to like maybe 24, 25. Like, you know, people say fuck shit all the time. All right. We're not perfect. It is what it is. I'm not mad at you, but let me just be clear about one thing. These allegations are pretty crazy. I can't go through with anything. I'm not going to go through with anything without any evidence. So I'm just letting you know straight up. If you're going to talk to somebody outside of the server like that, listen, again, same thing with the Jeff stuff. I don't care what you or anyone else say or do outside of the server. How you carry yourselves inside of the server is what I care about. Because ultimately you guys have free will and do whatever the fuck you want outside of it. I have no control over that. So, I would probably recommend you don't say that kind of thing to anybody else. If you did, I'm not going to hound you anymore for it. But if, anybody ever gives me any kind of evidence towards this kind of behavior in the servers again, I'll have to just remove straight up your mod status. And I don't want to do that. Anyway, I'm not mad, I'm not upset. Let's just make sure this doesn't happen again. Be very careful with the wording you use or whatever. Be very careful if you're going to send any fuck shit messages for it to not be in the server, because as a moderator, you guys are, at least I would hope that we can, hold up some of the values of the server. But outside of that, just be careful. Hope you take care of yourself. We're good. Don't worry. I'm not mad. I'm not going to give you side eye again. But, I just wanted to make sure that we understand that, at least. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. I saw the message, by the way, Aster. I saw the message. I know that they can identify who the fuck it was. I know. So he says right here, I don't remember saying anything or doing this, but if that was the case that I said this, I do sincerely apologize and it won't ever happen again. I don't want to damage your reputation or any other mod's reputation just for me being a dumbass. Okay, so, sure. You're fine. It's not about reputation. I don't care about that. I just want the space to not have any threats or any kind of the sort. I've been consistent with it since day one. So now they ask me, okay, well, 6 earlier on the thing was, so now earlier today, right? He was like, the more the merrier, sounds lovely. Okay, June 7th, literally 2 days later. What's good, guys? My girlfriend is helping me create a log room so that we can figure out if anyone messages or puts out anything that goes against community guidelines. However, in order to do so and make sure that no one deletes messages, we'll be changing up some of the permission settings. So if you see anything weird or any changes, it's basically that. I got 2 thumbs up here from Lapis and 6 because there's no other person with an L in their name. So I'm assuming that's Lapis. And he said, and even Fine said, 6 says, I was gonna do this a long time ago, but I couldn't figure out how. I just deadass forgore to set the Carl bot up for that. So, for context, After this whole situation happened, my girlfriend, who does work with coding, explained to me that she can set this up for me on the server. So that Sunday we sat down and she basically did, and we basically sat down. She said, "I hope I'm not intruding. I hope I'm not I hope you don't think that like I'm trying to like mess around with your server, like take anything from your mods or whatever. I don't want to come between you guys." And I'm like, "You're fine. Just I want to make sure that something like this never happens again. I want to make sure that something like." So you know what she did? She set this up, right? She set up this whole thing. So now people can't just remove their messages, delete their messages, and it says, and you know, right here it says a message from 6 from yesterday. I lost my perms. At Eon, I lost my perms, right? Mind you, I let them know that I was going to be removing that I was going to be changing up some of the permission settings. Cool. So he says, "I lost perms and I think the other mods did too." You didn't lose perms. I told you before that you did. Yeah, I'm not seeing any mod perms for myself either. Yeah, same here. Oh shit, my bad. I was fucking around with the settings when my girlfriend and I were setting up the bot that I informed them of, that two of them give me a thumbs up for. I checked, and Thine clearly saw it because he saw that he also forgot to do it. I checked, you guys have almost every permission besides banning, which was true. They had almost every moderator has permissions for almost everything besides banning and checking out the message logs, because, which I'll get to in a bit. Sorry, he says, "We need perms back, Eon." Sorry, but no, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think it's necessary. We had them before, ? You guys can still do everything. And why is that? We had them previously, and considering you can't be on a lot of the time, it's better for us to have them so we can take action if you aren't available or online. And this also takes a huge load off of you. I get that the answer is no. Please don't make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. You can still do everything from creating polls to kicking people if they act out of line. I think that's reasonable. If you're asking for a reason, I'm not being disrespectful, just begging for perms back, so you want to give your reasoning. I sent you a DM, and I did send 6 a DM, a personal DM, that at this point, fuck it, who cares? But I said TLDR, in order to remove any chance that anyone can try to cover up their or anyone else's tracks by deleting specific comments or content posted in the server that go against community guidelines. The audit logs are only visible to me if I give you guys admin privileges, that at any point if anyone fucks up and says or posts something extremely foul, then they can't try to recover it up, cover it up or delete it from the log. I mean, do you mean by message log? Because we can see it. The audit logs aren't foolproof either, but they are better than nothing. Yeah, it's fine. You guys can see them. It's just an ultimately precaution, and that's where Lapis drops this whole thing on me. So saying, we don't appreciate you telling us about stripping away certain perms from us. No, I literally told you. I literally fucking told you. And just to be clear, I'm not gonna defend this entirely. I'm gonna take some accountability here. Lapis, Thine, Bob, and 6. I am sorry. I am sorry that I have been such a shitty fucking server head. I am sorry that I didn't take this or deal with the situation in the best way possible. Hindsight's 2020. I look back at it now, I should have been more vocal with you guys and my reasons for changing the mods. The mods. The reason is, and the reason why I had to show this whole thing with 6, is because I did not want this whole situation to be blown out of proportion. I didn't want to. Now, I'm not trying to admonish anything that I've done. I'm just trying to explain one very important thing. One of my biggest anxieties, especially before even ever starting YouTube, was that making content and being a personality on the internet to any extent means that people now know of you. You're not just another random name on the internet. People now know of you. That shit is scary to me because, and you guys can see this from many of the things that I've watched throughout the past, I like watching a lot of I like to watch a lot of commentary channel. I like to watch the biggest fraud, YouTube's biggest fraud, Darman, etc., etc., etc. I like to watch, what's it called? I like to watch, drama content. But in doing so, it also built for me a paranoia. That paranoia being, YouTubers in general, at some point in time, I guess maybe part of the club type shit, like I guess you're a YouTuber when it happens. You're at some point going to go through some kind of fucking controversy. Whether it's something that is just completely blown out of proportion, something that was completely misinterpreted, or something that's just blatantly fucking true. Right? Or insert whatever other context you want to throw in. It's always been one of my biggest fears, and this exact situation that I'm in, I've always been afraid of this shit. As soon as I saw that thing from Lapis, And not even just a thing from Lapis, no, because the comment was like, okay, this is kind of crazy, sure. I don't agree with everything that Lapis is saying. I need to go point by point. I was trying to comment before I found out, oh no, they just left the server. Okay, cool. And when they left the server, I figured, should I talk to them personally? Should I not? What the fuck should I do? But no, fuck it. It doesn't matter what I say to them because I don't think that it'll fucking change anything. I think from some of the comments you guys have been able to see, they have been very, I guess, I'm going to say they have been very rigid about all of this. And I have tried to be as flexible and I've tried to like give them as much common ground as I could have. And I've even agreed with them on so many things. So I don't think I'm entirely in the wrong from the perspective of I have been inflexible, I haven't been doing X, Y, Z, no, and I haven't been vocal either. No, I haven't. But where I have been wrong is how I handled this whole situation. I owed you guys, I needed to tell you guys about the whole situation with Six. I needed to tell you about it. But I did not want it to blow out of proportion. It was just between myself, Six, and the person that and the person from the comments, right? The person that saw this whole crazy allegation thing, right? These comments. I thought, you know what? Only 3 of us know. They posted something in the server about it. A couple more people found out, but I was like, please just delete those things. I don't want us to become anything crazy because I also don't think that Six is actually out here trying to like tell people this shit, right? At least without any evidence, I can't say that Six does this shit. And I think that those allegations, even something like that about I'm not going to show it again, R-wording and killing somebody or whatever, I think, or whatever, I think those are crazy ass fucking allegations. And I know that those things can blow out of proportion, like the Jeff stuff. So without any full evidence, objective evidence, what am I supposed to come down to? What do you want me to do? Did I handle it the best? No. You guys 100% deserve to know about it. I should have expressed it to you guys, and I should have let you guys, and then express why and express that was the reason. That was the biggest reason of anything as to why I didn't fucking say anything about the permissions, besides just letting you guys know that I was fucking around with some of the perms. But I did inform you guys about it. You cannot put that on me. As far as that goes, I could have handled it better. I have nothing to say to that. I fucked up. I fucked up there. And it created it created a lack of trust. It broke your guys' trust. And for that, I really do apologize. I also apologize for all the work I had you guys do. Not even really. I want to apologize for all the work I had you guys do as well. You guys did so much for this fucking server. You guys made all of these channels. You guys tried to do all of these ideas. You guys put the animal pics. You guys tried to make let me slow down. You guys did a lot for this fucking community, and whenever I said that you guys were the pillars of this community, the backbone, whenever I said that from the bottom of my heart, I genuinely appreciated everything you guys did, I always meant it. I'm not a very social person on social media. Most of my interactions boil down to me commenting on some random post on social media sites about like power scaling, and that's it. I don't comment. I go back and forth with somebody, maybe for like a day or two, and that's it. I don't do anything else besides that. My entire life outside of this YouTube channel is essentially keeping the house up and power scaling. I think about power scaling 24/7. That's not me trying to make it being any better. That's just me telling you guys, I don't have the energy, especially after a full day's worth of work, of sitting in front of a computer, of talking to people, being active with my community, at least to the extent of a stream. I don't have the energy to deal with that every day. And I haven't had that energy for a while. I'm not gonna lie. There are things in the background, especially when it comes to my own physical health, because if you guys, I'm assuming that some of you guys aren't going to believe me unless I explain what it is. I'll go into it. I suffer from an autoimmune disease. It's called ulcerative colitis. To boil it down, it essentially means that I have these ulcers, these like gashes in my lower intestine that make it so that whenever I'm having flares, blood comes out. It is something that I only got under full control about 1.5 years ago. Stress, the doctors could not figure out what the fuck the reasoning was, because even in my family, there's kind of next to no history about this. One great aunt, sure. But even then, they were like, they did some questions. We went through a couple things. They said it likely was caused because of stress. I am an extremely stressed out person from high school to college to the years that I spent outside to now in YouTube. I am a person that is constantly stressed out, so I've done things to manage it, which is why I tend to detach, which is why I also say I try to be a passive person. Because at the end of the day, I have to treat things as not that serious. Otherwise, this whole situation happens where now I can't sleep, now I can't eat, now I can't do anything because I'm constantly thinking about this fuck ass situation. So, when I made the server, when I got the moderators, I put the whole weight of the server on them. And that wasn't fair to you guys. You guys are super excited to, be part of a community and help this thing grow, and I will always be grateful for that. But it wasn't fair to you guys. It wasn't fair to you guys to just kind of put all the server stuff on you guys. One of the reasons I even gave you admin purposes was because I thought, okay, sure, they can handle it. In truth, I'm going to be just straight up honest. I made the Discord server originally because I thought I can't offer much, but I can at least offer a community for people, right? But honestly, this thing kind of grew a little bit more than I ever thought it would have. And there are people talking in the server every single day, interacting, making jokes at my expense, which is all fine. But I'm just not a social person. And I told you guys this multiple times. I'm not someone who talks to people that often, especially in terms of social media. I'm really not. But you guys told me you guys wanted me to interact more with the server, so I tried doing that. Sometimes I'm still a little bit off, but I'm trying to interact more with the server. I'm trying to be more open about it because guess what? If people want to be part of this community, then naturally speaking, they would want to talk with the guy who essentially is the figurehead of a community. And I think that's reasonable. Especially since I stopped streaming, I would have more energy to do it. Guess what? I just don't. I just don't. I don't have a defense for that. I don't have anything to tell you other than I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. I'm genuinely sorry that I put all of this. I'm genuinely sorry that I put all of the weight of the server on you guys. I'm genuinely sorry that I wasn't vocal about the whole situation with Six. I thought I could just handle it. Hindsight's 2020. I didn't handle it the best. You guys were clearly reaching a boiling point. I was clearly just choosing to be oblivious about it because I felt it in the back of my head, but I guess I was just choosing to be oblivious about it. I thought it's going to be fine. Things are just going to be great. And a part of me always knew that you guys weren't always going to be my mods and, you guys were either going to grow, whether it was because you guys had to leave the server for a reason, I mean, like when Thine left, or whether it was because of some other shit. Hell, when Lapis started up his server, I was like, oh, moving along. Hey, maybe in the future, I'm imagining that in the future, Lapis is probably not going to be in the server anymore. I'm not upset about it. I'm not mad. I'm happy. He's starting his own community, and I think that's lovely. Six starting his own channel, seeing them grow like that, it makes me nothing but happy. Because this was a place where it started. Even if I'm not the greatest power scaler of all time, and I'm not trying to be, but even if I'm not like, even if I just end up being some other fuck-ass channel, as long as these two are able to as long as you guys are able to like make and grow your own communities and do stuff, and you guys just use my thing as a starting off point, even if I was just a stepping stone, I was perfectly fine with that. I was happy. I was always happy to hear all the progress that Thine was doing with their medical thing. Bob never really talked, but as long as they were good, I was always happy just to see that you guys were good, but I guess that wasn't enough, and I guess I didn't build up that kind of a relationship. But it's because I didn't build up that kind of a relationship, and it was partially, and I'm gonna be honest with you, part of the reason why I don't talk to you guys a lot, part of the reason why I don't, not just the moderators, but just everyone in general, part of the reason why I tried to be as, I guess you could say, personal about this stuff, why I tried not to really ever have anybody call me by my name. When I found out that what Lapis's real name was, or Six's real name was, I was surprised. I was like, oh, these guys are all on a first name basis. Months after the server came up. I don't have that relationship with them because I wasn't actively trying to do it. I wasn't actively trying to have that. And part of it was this kind of fear. That people are just going to bring up random shit and turn it into a whole bigger situation, dude. I guess in a way I was right. This is why I never had anybody call me by my real name. This is why I never have anybody even call me by my nickname. Why I don't share a lot of stuff about myself. Why I'm only sharing this stuff about my physical problems. Because guess what? people tend to take shit either out of context, blow things out of proportion, or do crazy shit, or just do shit like this, bro. Spreading allegations that I'm apparently like siding with an Islamophobe and defending NSFW. I'm not doing any of that shit, bro. Nothing I've said or stated alluded to it. Could I've handled things 100% better? 100%. Am I mad at you guys? I'm disappointed. I'm sad. But I get where you guys are coming from. You're mad at me. And you know what? Fair. I'm not asking you guys to come back either. But I am going to do this. I want to at least extend an olive branch out and say, if you guys ever want to come back to the server, you're more than welcome to. Listen, I'm someone who doesn't ever, I have no enemies. I never want to hold anything against anyone because I've been in that in the past with my own fucking family, dude. I don't like harboring negative emotions. I just choose to see people for what they are and be like, okay, hey, listen, it is what it is. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to say anything crazy because I'm not perfect either, dude. Clearly. I didn't handle things the best. I'm just trying to be a decent dude. And it's because I feel like if someone like me can be a decent dude, everyone can be a decent person. Is it wrong for me to have, is it genuinely wrong for me to believe that people can change or people can just not replicate a specific behavior? Maybe. You could say it's naive. Sure. But one thing I will say is I will never forget and will never be anything less than grateful for all the stuff that you guys have done for me and for the server. Whether it's all the conversations that I've had with Thine about Kengan Omega, or all the discussions we had about expressing what lightning timing is, speed, all that stuff, all their explanations for that stuff. Whether it's Six wanting to play video games with me, which I don't always have the energy to play with you, Six. That is me genuinely telling you the truth. I don't always have. I play with you in part because, yeah, I want to be cool. I do want to spend that time. I just don't always have the energy. And listen, even outside of like the fucking server, when I turn off everything, even just talking to my own girlfriend sometimes feels like a daunting fucking task. You can ask her yourselves. Where sometimes I want to talk to her for like 5 fucking minutes. I'm calling her. Partially because I want to, partially because part of me wants to have that thing where I talk to her every day, but part of me is also, I don't want to talk. I don't want to yap with anyone. I don't want to watch anything. I just want to just sit here. I will always appreciate the fact that Six wants to play fucking video games, that always want to play video games, or the fact that Six is just so passionate about power scaling. Or just all the moderation, on just all the work that he put into moderation. I'll never be ungrateful for that. Or Bob posting One Piece, letting everybody know when the new One Piece chapter's at, or giving me other sites to fucking check out manga in, like or comic books, like the Transformers one, or putting me onto Versus. Yeah, I haven't read it in a while, sure, but I will eventually get back into it. And Lapis, honestly, I've always appreciated the wacky things that you tried to do with like the Shaggy scans and the quote unquote April Fool's thing. You were trying to make this server fun. You were trying to make the server interesting. You know, try to change it a little bit, right? Hello, dumbasses. Normally, I would use my little bear to greet you. Like, I thought, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm not going to engage with this, but hey, this is cool. Hey, lovely. We got a little bit of wackiness going on in the server for April Fools. I think that was cool. All the effort you guys put into this channel, all the time and energy you guys put in, I will never be ungrateful for that. I will genuinely always appreciate the fact that you guys went through all of this effort for someone like me. So with that being said, I really am sorry that I was a shitty server head. I really am sorry that it came to this. I really am sorry you guys feel this way. I don't think I'm entirely in the wrong in anything, and though I will admit that looking back at it, yeah, the stuff that Jeff said could be perceived as Islamophobe. I don't think I'm okay with the idea of just putting on this sticker in front of him. In the same way that I wasn't okay with this idea of calling of all the crazy shit putting the sticker in front of Six for all the crazy shit that he allegedly said. Because guess what? If it's not blatant, if it's not objective, if there is some context and nuance for it, if there could be some context and nuance for it, I'm gonna give somebody the benefit of doubt. Not every case. If there's just so much information backing it up, sure, but what do you want me to tell you? Anyway, that's kind of it. I kind of covered every single topic that I needed to go. I've got like 2 hours worth of sleep. I think I've been at this for like 2 hours. I don't know what you guys want me to tell you. I'm gonna set up comments again. I'm gonna see what you guys have to say. Do with this do with this whatever you guys will. Do with this whatever you guys fucking will. This is gonna if this had to spread out into anything bigger than what it actually was, so be it. But what am I supposed to fucking tell you guys? Listen, I don't care if you guys agree with me. I don't care if you guys think that I'm actually like adhering to something with like an Islamophobe or some shit. I don't care. Even if you guys think so, I don't give a shit. I don't think I was defending anything. I don't think I was doing anything crazy. And the fact that they're pulling out these allegations, and what I find crazy is, thanks to some screenshots that I received, they were making all this crazy shit, but they never post any evidence for it. They never post any screenshots, etc. How is that? How you guys are essentially just doing the same shit to me now. You're calling out all of these allegations, but you have no evidence to back anything of it up. Kind of your side with Halo Jeff. You're a good person, and we're happy to be a part of your community. I appreciate it, guys. Like, I'm just saying. I think I wasn't even remotely, like, coming from a disingenuous or crazy fucking perspective. That's all I'm saying. I thought I tried to handle this the best way that I can, and yeah, it is what it is. God damn, there's so many fucking... Yeah, I can only imagine how many fucking comments happen in here, but I don't think I can read any of this. You never know, it might be yeah. Can't wait for my apology video with dog shit inside at the start. Yeah. Good morning. This ain't good morning, dog. Dan just woke up. What happened? Bro's really flexing that 1K score. Eon and his mods are going at it. Yeah. They're going at it. I'm not gonna hold this against them. I'm not gonna sit here and say, yo, fuck you guys or whatever. Like, I'm pissed off, especially at Lapis, but like, I'll get over it. It is what it is. This is in the past. At this point, this is like very fresh, very recent, but this is in the past to me at this point, right? Like, I'm essentially showing my side of things. I'm showing you guys all the receipts. If they have anything that they need to allegedly call me out on, sure, go ahead. I don't think I posted or said anything crazy. I think I've said the N-word N-I-G-G-A once when describing Byakuya, because I said I hate this N-word one time when we were doing a chat back in like the summer last year. Just because I was talking about how much I don't like Byakuya, and I guess it just slipped out. If you guys want to call me out for that, sure. Fantastic. I don't think I've never said the hard R. I don't have this habit of insulting people or doing any crazy shit. Like, I don't know, man. I know that if they're going to bring anything up, I think, like, the worst they can say is that I've said the N-word I-G-G-A a couple of times in reference to a character that's not even black. I don't know. I guess that's the worst thing that they could say on me. I don't know if they have anything else. I don't know what else they could have. They're saying all these things about allegations or whatever, about an essay thing or whatever, about a list, but like, where the fuck... I don't know where the fuck the list would even come in, because I'm not related to any of this. All about intention, not the word, in my opinion. Yeah, it's about intention, not the word. Again, and Eon needs rest and rejuvenation. I hope you get some rest to be exhausted. And I just want to be clear about one last thing. The reason why this whole situation, this whole little shit show right here, this whole little back and forth that them and I had, that was the catalyst. Just to be clear with you guys, because it was after that, after the 23rd, it was after that I basically said, yo, everyone, I'm kind of just leaving and stuff like that. Literally the 25th. As some of you may know, the last week throughout streams, I've been talking about having a small break. This was the catalyst. This was everything. Correct, not the catalyst. This was the breaking point for me. This was like, all right, you know what? I'm dealing with a lot of shit in the back of my mind. I have a lot of anxiety over this fucking video. Yesterday, I told my bro, who doesn't power skill and sliders, but he knows about Naruto and One Piece. He knows that I'm a YouTuber and all that stuff. I showed him like the script for the video, and he was like, he was like, bro, 18 pages, cool. How long do you think that'll be? Like what? Like an hour? Like what? 30 minutes? I'm like, no, this shit's about an hour. And he was like, all right, cool. It's not too bad. And I'm like, no. This is only for Naruto, dude. He just started laughing. He was like, how long do you think this is gonna be? Like, probably at least 100 pages. He started fucking crying. My point with this is very simple. I have every single second that I am not. I'm not gonna say every single second. Often enough that I am not on the server, I am not talking to anyone on whatever, I am not on streaming, I am thinking about Naruto versus Luffy. When I'm brushing my teeth, when I'm making breakfast, when I'm eating... moments, not even when I'm eating breakfast, sometimes when I'm eating lunch, sure, but like, moments where I am specifically just autopiloting doing stuff, I am essentially just developing the fucking argument, dude. If you guys could if I could put cameras up in my fucking house so you guys could see me, you guys would see me walk around my living room, to my dad's room, through the living room, back to my room, to my dad's room, walking around the table in the living room multiple times, walking up and down the kitchen, into the bathroom, then walking right out and going. I am running circles around my house, just developing argument, not even recording shit half the time, just thinking about the argument, thinking about how I can have sandbag talk, thinking about about how I can make some of the retorts, what other points are brought up, looking up other, like, bro, I am sitting through this shit so fucking often that, yeah, I needed to take a step back, because if I am talking with you guys on a daily fucking basis, on stream, 6 hours a fucking day, and then afterwards I'm still thinking about this shit because my goddamn fuck-ass brain won't stop, yeah, I need a break. But there you go. That's me being as blatantly fucking real with you guys as possible. Everything will be okay. No, I think everything will be okay. I think these guys blew it out of proportion. I think they blew it out of proportion entirely. It was a complete overreaction from your mods, in my opinion. I think it was too. The fact that you guys are even saying it was a complete overreaction means that I know for a fact, not even because of appeal to popularity, just the fact that you guys see that it is not as black and white as they are painting it out to be, means that, again, I had no reason to apologize, and I had no reason to do anything crazy. The modeling server, like Eon just did a crime, you don't want to be associated with him, is absolutely crazy because the drama ain't even that serious. That's what I'm saying! I still like those guys. I still fuck with Six, dude. I still fuck with Lapis, I still fuck with Bob, I still fuck with Nine. If you guys ever want to come back, come back. I'm not going to give you guys mod status anymore. And this has definitely taught me that, hey, listen, if somebody's going to be my mod, they have to be able to understand I am here for nuance and context. I'm not going to paint people as black and white because people are not inherently black and white. People can grow, people can improve, people can do better. If somebody doesn't want to be a part of that, that's completely fine. But I'm also not just going to give mods from here on out. I'm just not going to give any of my mods ban status because I don't like this idea of people just banning people for no reason. I don't like it, man. Especially was acting like you were Halo Jeff's alt account. That's what I'm saying. And you know what's crazy? They were even agreeing with me with so much of the shit. Gotta vet the future mods better. I do. When I first chose them, I basically just asked people that wanted to be mods. They were the first three to ask up. Then Bob came along because he was also being very chatty in the server. So I was like, yeah, sure. Because that's the thing. I'm willing to give. Maybe you guys can see this as like me being very naive. Sure, people could take advantage of it. Sure, but like I'm someone who is willing to give people chances. That's all I'm saying. I'm someone who is willing to give people chances. Think of that what you will. You don't have to agree with me. But that's it. I think people can grow. I think people can be better. That's really it. Just want to point out that associates with me and someone who's in charge, and I'm in his racist bit of a guilt chain scale. I feel like it's an overreaction and taking it too personally. Drake, you brought up, real quick, Drake, you hit me up in DMs and you said that they were bringing up their side, but they weren't being too specific with any of the details. Can you see why? Because I think they know that this is an overreaction, but they're just trying to be either too prideful or they just don't want to say, hey, listen. And here's the thing. I'm not even trying to ask anyone to say that they're wrong or anything. I'm not even asking anyone to say anything crazy. I'm just saying, guys, let's just leave this in the past. The biggest issue I had with this whole thing was them, before this, was just them telling me I had to apologize. I'd like to petition to be a Discord mod. I am going to need some Discord mods in the future. I'm going to focus on this in a little bit. I'm probably going to have my girlfriend also help me set up a bot that, like, figures out specific words or whatever. I'm going to try to be a little bit more on it, and I'll figure this out on Monday. Not naive, but more like you have no reason to disrupt people until you do. You give them a chance, yeah. In this month? Fuck no. No, I'm not releasing the video in this month. If you need context, here. This is what I'm at so far. I am 18 pages into the video. I haven't even started talking about Luffy in the first 100 chapters. And I'm only now going into Naruto and Strength. 18 pages, by the way, guys, is almost 50 minutes. So 50 minutes of the video alone, just the first 50 minutes are an explanation of a disclaimer and essentially just me going over Naruto. Yeah, no, this video's not going to come out for now. I'm not going to know when it's going to come out. I'm going to still continue to work on it because I'm not going to let this stop me from working on my videos. Yeah, it's going to be one hell of a video. I literally told my boy Brandon about this shit. I'm like, bro, no funny shit. This shit might be 100 fucking pages. I might unironically make a 10-hour video. And no funny shit, from like a YouTube perspective, probably the only reason this shit's gonna get any kind of notoriety is because people are gonna be like, who the fuck sat down and wrote a 10-hour video about Luffy beating the fuck out of Naruto? Some people are gonna argue in the comments without listening to it all the way. This is my official application, not experienced, but no known history of hardcore altercations. That's down, okay. Sure. I'm gonna think this over during the weekend. Hopefully the server doesn't implode with a weekend with 2-3 days of people not being fully moderated. I'm gonna do my best to make sure that people aren't saying any wild shit, but like, yeah. I'm gonna leave it at this. It's like the 12-hour long video about the Phantom Menace. Yeah, if people watch it because it's a 10-hour long video, yeah, sure. Hopefully at least, you know, it gets some level of notoriety because somebody's gonna be like, who the fuck sat down and power scaled this whole thing? Yeah. Anyway, that's it for it. I don't know what else to say. Listen, do with all of this whatever you guys will. Side with whoever the fuck you guys want to side. Do, as I always say, believe in whatever the fuck you want to believe or you choose to believe. I'm glad that at least some people are on my side on this, that I'm not just blatantly, you know, being an asshole, Islamophobic, defender or whatever, but like, yeah. That's it. It is what it is. Put it on repeat. I would apply to Eon. Been here for a long time. Even if I'm not always here, I didn't see anything that would make you a terrible guy. Honestly, go sleep, man. Yeah, I need sleep. I'm gonna be honest with you. My girlfriend and I was yapping with this about her until like 1 in the morning. She told me, babe, just please fucking relax. Just please stop thinking about this. Go to sleep. Go do something. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go to sleep. No, 3 hours, 2-3 hours, because I don't know if it was 3 or 4 o'clock when I finally said, fuck it, I need to go to bed. I was trying to watch, you know what, here, I'll even show you. I was trying to watch a fucking Beyblade video, dude. I was trying to watch this fucking Beyblade Metal Fusion was actually insane or whatever. I was watching some solemn episode of, like, Hard Leg playing a Masochist series. Dude. I'm sitting here trying to watch these fucking videos at like 3-4 in the fucking morning. Sorry, 2 to 3 in the fucking morning. And I'm constantly going back to how I'm going to fucking tackle this, how I'm going to talk about this, going through all of these exact fucking points. I haven't slept. I slept for 2 fucking hours and I woke up and I said, fuck it, at 6 a.m. No, I'm gonna put the stream up right now. Like, this is gonna still be in my head all fucking day. You could, I know I'm saying, like, you know, it's in the past or whatever, but like, this is the type of thing where I'm like, I am going to be on this shit for a while, and to say that, like, you know, and doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but like, to say that, like, yo, this is not just gonna be like another thing that I'm not gonna be on for a while, I don't know, man. Like, fuck me, dude. Fuck me, dude. Because it's not even like, I know that this thing's not that crazy at the end of the day. I don't think that, like, I'm saying anything crazy, but like, I think the part that's just getting to me is that, like, I know that I'm still going to be on, like, how I could have also worded this, what I could have said, did I say everything right? Like, I'm still gonna be on this shit, dude. And that's what I fucking hate about this whole situation. Yeah, but anyway, that's it. Have a good one, guys. I also fixate on Versus Battle for too long in my head. Sleep in water, yeah. Go get some rest. I woke up and this made me tired. It is tired. Imagine it. Could mod if you need. Either case, be sure you prioritize your own well-being. That's what I'm trying, dude. And that's what I'm trying, but I guess, yeah, sure, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to back that. This drama couldn't be more Discord coded, yeah. Have a good one, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And, yeah. Thine, Lapis, 6, Bob. Again, I'm extending out an olive branch. If you ever want to come back in the server a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, if you guys ever choose to just let this fucking go, because again, you guys are overreacting on this. And here's the thing, I'm not even going to ask you guys for a fucking apology. You guys don't need to apologize, you guys don't even say anything. Just, it's in the past. Leave it fucking be. I do like you guys. I liked interacting with you guys. I liked talking to you guys. I appreciate you guys and everything you guys have done. I think all of that to me supersedes what the fuck this was. So as one final thing, yeah, I'm extending out an olive branch. If you guys ever want to be back in the server, if you don't want to associate with me, sure, that's fine. But you're not my enemy. I have no enemies. Let's just leave it. Let's just leave it be, guys. Feeling like shit too. It doesn't make me feel better that you're feeling like shit, Aster. In all honesty, I wish that it wasn't the case. But a nothing burger after a nothing burger. Yeah, it was a nothing burger after nothing burger. I agree. Right before going to see my XP on the leaderboard. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.